Hey, Prime members, you can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the app today.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello and welcome to Crime and Sports.
Yay! We're back!
We're back. Yay, indeed, Jimmy.
Yes.
Yay, indeed. My name is James Petrogallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Westman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us. We are pumped up from a week off. We're filled with energy, holiday energy. We're jacked up. We had a week off of, that was like our week of, we weren't on the road last weekend. We didn't have shows to do this, so that was insane. I didn't know what to do with myself. I would get up to do, like, I don't. Okay, I'm okay now. And I'd sit down. It was really fucking weird, but it's okay.
Plenty to do.
Now,
fucking horrible.
Now we're screwed. Now it's back to the grindstone, but I'm excited about it. We have a long weekend this weekend coming up. Get your tickets. Go over to shutupandgivememurder.com and get your tickets to Small Town Murder Live. Philly's, I don't know. I think most of them are
sold out.
Philly's sold out.
Yeah.
Cincinnati sold out.
Yeah.
I looked there. There's only single tickets left. That's sold out. I think there's some tickets left in New York.
Maybe.
I'm not sure. So otherwise, I don't know why we're telling you this then, because it's mostly sold out. But
it's just going to be go time. It's
so,
running from airport to airport.
And hopefully we're dodging weather, and we'll see what happens. Whoo, boy. Thank you, folks, for your iTunes, Apple Podcast, whatever the fuck reviews. Whatever reviews you've done this week, whatever platforms, thank you very much. Right. It really does help drive us up the charts. Those iTunes charts, I don't know why, but it feeds it. The reviews feed the funky algorithm. Right. They make it dance for us. Yeah. So if you haven't done that, please get on there. 5 stars would be wonderful, and just tell us you're following instructions, following directions, and all that sort of stuff. If that's not enough for you and you want to be a superstar,
you can.
One of our producers that we'll talk about at the end of the show here, one of these fine folks that we're having a chance to meet a lot of at these live shows
so great,
too,
isn't it?
Which is really, really cool. We have a blast doing that. But if you want to do that, you can go over to patreon.com/crimeinsports or head over to PayPal, use our email address crimeinsports@gmail.com and make a one-time donation there. And every dime is greatly, greatly appreciated. You can get to those links. There's links there on shutupandgivememurder.com. Right. Also links to merchandise.
You can
get all your crime and sports gear, your shirts and mugs and bath mats and whatever other crazy shit you want to get.
I still can't believe that.
It's so funny. People send, look, I bought a bath mat that says, "You, sir, may fuck off." I'm like, that's amazing. That is tremendous. What is happening? Look at my Shut Up and Give Me Murder throw pillow. And I'm like, okay, well, yeah, this is great.
Real quick, visiting the people that we're meeting, Jesse Hartman, it's unfair that man gets to be that tall and handsome. It is fucking mind-blowing.
You're all very handsome. Now, let's not single anybody out and make anyone else feel bad.
When he stood, I assumed that he was just like the guy that the girl drug to the show. Not drug like, but she. I just figured he tagged along.
Yeah,
he drug her to the show. And he is insane. He looks like a European model. This son of a bitch.
It's funny to see the people and put faces to names, and it's also I've been told, I don't know, several hundred times. Yeah. Wow, I thought you'd be much older. That's pretty much what everybody. I thought you'd be like 60. Your voice you sound like older.
I heard probably a handful of times. I thought you'd be smaller.
I thought you'd be smaller.
Which felt nice.
It's better than I thought you'd be taller, which is the Roadhouse Patrick Swayze problem. All right, let's get down to business.
Okay.
Because this is a thick one.
Yeah.
There's some episodes, it's weird. There's some episodes that are little tiny stories that I have to try to, make into a big thing and try to just to magnify everything so we can really see what's going on. And sometimes there's huge stories that in one podcast, like we have to try to boil it down to make it a little small, not even condense it, just try to focus in on what's important. And because you could focus in some of these stories that are huge, you can focus in on a lot of different things in them, and you could get carried away on that for a whole episode.
Be 5 hours into this thing.
Exactly. There's this guy here, there's documentaries about certain aspects of him that are whole hour and a half documents.
Jesus.
So it's let's get to it. It's Maurice Clarett.
Oh yeah,
you know Maurice Clarett. Everyone, this is one of our
so
very, very requested episodes. It's there's a good probably 50 people out there that are heavy requested episodes, and we've done a bunch of them, and there's a bunch still on the table. Your Lawrence Taylors and your War Machines and your Chris Benoit, everybody wants us to do.
Aaron Hernandez.
And Aaron Hernandez. And it'll all happen, trust it, because it's like crime in sports. It's contractually obligated. So next year, we have to put out 52 episodes as per the letter of a contract we just signed. So we'll get to everything. Don't you worry about that. And don't get mad, by the way, the end of the year here, we took a week off for the holidays. Don't get upset. That prolongs crime in sports. Go, okay, that's another week. I'll have it later on. Because there's a finite number of criminal athletes. And, we're not there yet, but eventually we're going to run out. So be happy. This is one of the fun ones, though.
Okay.
A shame, and it's a guy I want to be on his side so bad.
I mean, college, you did. Everybody was backing him.
And I wanted to be on his side, and I found I did this one because I accidentally stumbled upon a lot of information upon him that's very inside that I didn't know at all.
It's new?
It's the last few years. One of his agents wrote a book.
Oh, Jesus.
And it's a tell-all book about just sports, and absolutely there's a whole chapter on Maurice, and absolutely just puts everything into perspective.
Really?
Your agent is not the guy you want to turn on you. No. Your agent knows where the bodies are buried and shit like that. When you're an athlete, like they do. See, we have no skeletons, though. It's nice. We don't give a fuck what you say. Anything we've said to anyone, you can say publicly. We don't care. But if you're an athlete, you have a lot of things like, hey, there's this girl over here. I got pregnant. She's not quite 18 yet. This guy, no, but I mean, not. That didn't happen here. But that your agent knew that shit and stuff like that. So we'll get to all that. But so I found this information. And I was reading this book that had nothing to do with Maurice Clarett that I thought was just this crooked agent kind of deal. And then there's this chapter, and I'm like, oh man, we need Maurice Clarett, basically.
He's on the team.
Maurice Edward Clarett here. Asshole or idiot, if we play that game. Asshole or idiot. He's a hybrid. He's a good balance. He's a 50-50 indica sativa. Asshole idiot, I would say at this point in time. It's hard to say. Yeah. And we'll see. We'll talk about it. He's born October 29th, 1983. So he's still much younger than he seems. He's been around in the news for so long.
Fuck, at least 15 years, right?
Think of him, you think of longer than that. You think of him as an older guy, but he's really nice. He's only 35. There's guys that Frank Gore is playing in the fucking league right now.
35. At 36?
I think so. It's playing the same position, marching up the all-time rushing leaders chart while this guy is not doing that. Luckily, he's doing better shit nowadays. But he's from Ohio. He's a Youngstown. They talk about a lot. There's the 30 for 30 documentary, Youngstown Boys, which if you want to know all about, we'll talk not a lot, but we'll talk some about the whole Ohio State controversy with him and the coach and all that shit with taking money and all that garbage. We'll talk about that, but we'll keep it pretty brief on that subject because go watch 30 for 30 Youngstown Boys if you want to hear that.
Who else is part of that?
Jim Tressel, the coach. They talk about because he's from Youngstown too. And
is he really?
Yeah, that's the Youngstown Boys. It's kind of the relationship between Clarett and Jim Tressel, who is the ultimate silver-haired middle-aged white man. He is just he would be on the $1 bill of silver-haired middle-aged white men. This fucking guy. It's amazing.
Ohio State's a crooked-ass place in the first place.
Every college program is crooked as fuck. They all look great until it's exposed and they're like, oh my goodness.
We had no idea.
But glad no one else is doing that and everyone's doing the exact same shit.
Especially the biggest one.
Yeah, I'm gonna, and I will keep my I hate the NCAA rants to a minimum. A minimum. I'm not going to promise they won't be there at all, but a minimum. So Maurice is from there. His father leaves at an early age. He doesn't remember, like, he was a toddler when his dad left. So that's kind of a thing that sticks with him. And his only way he seems to relate to the world in the first basically 30 years of his life is through football. He has no other way to everything he talks about is in terms of, when I was a kid, like, what were you doing when you were 9? Well, I was playing this and this and this. Not like me and my mom lived here. Right. Like, that's everything seems to be through the prism of football, which is kind of why there's a problem here. It's kind of weird.
Did he play running back his whole life? Because he's a big fucking
he's a
wide
big
dude.
guy. He gets obviously much bigger in inopportune times, and we'll talk about that. He says he started playing football in '89, so he's 6 years old. He said he played on a little league team called the Little Braves, whatever. He says that fittingly enough, the team's colors were orange and blue.
Oh, is that right?
Fitting enough for the future, colors that he'd wear very excessively briefly. We'll talk about that and make fun of Jimmy for his team. He said he played strong safety as a little kid. Doesn't remember a lot about that. He just remembers the coaches were yelling at him, and he liked to hit and be hit, and he thought that was fun, and he thought football was a good time.
How terrified would you be if your kid just loved being hit?
Some kids like it. They like the contact.
Understand that's a problem.
That's an issue. That's a... No shit.
It's very rare those kids turn out to be great kids.
Well, you might end up with You might end up with Reggie White. Yeah. You never know.
Or JJ Watt.
Or JJ. Or you might end up with Lawrence Taylor. You never know. Or this young man,
Maurice Clarett.
Maurice Clarett here. He said he never, all through youth football, he played safety, linebacker, nose tackle, tight end, and fullback, but never played running back. Because the way he put it, quote, I was a fat kid who loved to eat. Mm-hmm. So he was a fat kid. He was a blocker and a tackler, and he wasn't the fastest kid out there. But he said as he thinned out a little bit, then he started playing running back, and he said, that's kind of when he got a taste for that. He played all the other positions, so that was a good experience for him to know what the other things are.
And when you do it well, you're the fucking star. You know
you're carrying the ball. Yeah. That probably felt good too. Oh shit! And when I was blocking, nobody cared.
That's the guy that touches the ball the most in the game.
Oh man, you break an 80-yard run, that's a highlight. I mean, that's big stuff here. He said junior high was when he first was a running back. He said there wasn't enough guys to practice in all the positions, so the coach asked him to fill in one day in practice, and he was pretty good at it. He would run over people, and if you watch Maurice Clarett in the 1 year that you only had an opportunity to watch him in, as we'll get to, spoiler alert, things didn't work out in football. He was fucking incredible, absolutely incredible. I mean, explosive. He's just really explosive. Just his legs he would just burst. He was so and big and knock you over, and really, really, really good running back. Anyway, he said he played running back in junior high, and that's all he ever wanted to do from then on was play running back. He wanted to, he wanted to knock people over and run them over and score touchdowns. He also had some trouble. He said at the end of 8th grade, he was arrested a few times.
Oh, boy.
Not good. Was arrested. He was about to be sent away for a year on a breaking and entering charge.
He's already got B&E.
Oh, at 14.
Wow.
Yeah, he's already got B&E. They're about to be fucking shipped off.
And how does it, I didn't know that already.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's intense.
He had problems as a child. There were warning signs that he might have issues, and it's because he says that he hangs around with dipshits. Yeah. And that's kind of his theme through his whole, even though everything he gets, it's weird, everything he gets legally in trouble for has nothing to do with anybody else.
He's all alone.
It's always him, all alone, by himself, not another soul involved. It's not him and 3 guys fight a guy at the club and fucking crack his skull open or something like we've seen 100 times on Crime and Sports.
It's him breaking into a neighbor's house.
It's him doing weird, well, no, not quite. But it's actually worse than that. It's actually worse than breaking. It's actually worse than Ryan Leaf. And then later on, too, when he's in the car, it's a crazy story. But
I mean, the B&E.
This might have been this was with kids, he says here. He says that he was looking for the respect of the older kids in the neighborhood, as people do. He said that him and the other kids picked out a house in the neighborhood that they thought had the most money. We think they have the most money.
As a teenager, how do you
well potted plants outside? I don't know how you decide
best
that.
Manicured grass,
the car maybe.
Well, if they did that shit at my house, because we had our cars were always clean. They weren't nice cars; they were pieces of shit.
Yeah, I mean they'd surpass you and be
and
like,
our grass was beautiful.
Well, then maybe you're the target.
You break into our house, you're getting a coffee can full of pennies. That's all we had.
Oh, I thought you were going to hit them with a coffee can full of pennies.
No.
That's the Helms defense.
That's all that was sitting on the mantle. And
you keep that next to your nightstand. Someone comes through the door, you just tuck it at them. That'll fuck somebody up, a coffee can full of pennies.
It was a coffee can in like a knitted doily that
nice.
covered it.
Yeah.
It looked like a Christmas house that was up all year long. And it was full of pennies.
In.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That my stepfather put pennies in.
Oh, and then what happened? Would he cash them in? What was his buy?
I'll bet they're still there.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, what was his big get at the end of that? Nothing?
We have nothing.
Oh, that's fucking sad. I was figure he bought himself something.
Nothing.
A TV, a few cases of beer.
A 10-pound jar of coffee will hold, $30 in pennies?
Pennies, yeah. No silver?
Very little.
Ah, well, yeah, get the fuck out of here then. No one wants that. Just throw that thing in the garbage. Throw it in the garbage every 6 months. That's it. It's not worth the rolling. It's not worth the rolling.
And Coinstar didn't exist then, so
you
that's
had
what
to
you
roll
had to do.
it and then write the amount, and your account number on the side of the thing. That's what happened.
And the bank people never trusted you. They
didn't
always
want
break
that
them
shit.
open and count them.
Oh, gee, thanks. That's just what we want here at the bank.
A whole dollar.
Fucking 8,000 pennies. Appreciate it, buddy.
20 pounds of pennies.
Here.
That'll give you $11.
No, I wanted to take my time up with you with these pennies rather than the customers who want to conduct business with actual money behind you.
And now you know why we left it in the coffee can.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Take your coffee can. Surprised they didn't just flick a couple 20s at him like Sonny Corleone after he broke the reporter's camera. The FBI guy's camera.
Fuck out of here.
Flick a couple 20s at him. Get the hell out of here with your goddamn penny. Take your pennies with you.
Take them with you.
Throw them
we'll
at
take
him.
a $40 loss.
We don't care.
Count that shit.
The time it'll take us to deal with you is not worth the time that we're going to lose other customers. Fuck
exactly.
off. So that's how I would deal with people at a bank.
And that's why nobody ever broke into our house.
That's smart. So this house, though, they picked this house. They didn't find pennies. Instead, they found that the owner of the house was home.
Oh, boy.
So shit didn't go well.
Yeah.
That was a shock. Now he's 13 years old. He jumps out of a second-story window head first and splits his head open.
Oh, my God.
And he ends up getting 13 stitches, which is actually something that it sticks out because that is his running back. That's his number.
That's his number?
That's his number.
He wore number 13.
He wore number 13 because of the 13 stitches in his head.
Hilarious.
So, yeah, that's the 13 comes up a lot, and that's the reason why he wore 13 was because of stitches.
Any idea why he has such a bad fucking career with the number 13 looming over his head? What a dipshit.
This story is just, it's kind of it's the crime and sports like archetype story. Yeah. It's all the promise in the world, not just the promise, he could have hung on as a second stringer for 5 years and then, had a dry cleaning business where people knew his name. Like this, he could have been a star. He could have been huge, completely fucks it up of his own accord, does completely idiotic things, says he's fine, does more shit wrong. Like, it's so the fucking quintessential crime and sports story. I can't even get over it. It's that ridiculous.
So that was when you embrace 13.
That's what happens, which was always my number, by the way, in sports. Yes, it was. Absolutely it was. It was. As a kid in New York, you couldn't get 23 because I wanted 23, but that was Mattingly, and everybody either wanted it because of Mattingly or because of Michael Jordan. Right. So you're not getting 20 fucking 3.
And now LeBron.
Yeah, so I would just take 13 because nobody wanted it, and I was also kind of chubby, and the larger numbers in Little League were the bigger sizes. So it was like, well, like 13's an extra large. I'm pretty fat, and nobody wants it, so I guess I'll take it, and then I'll own it and be like, I only want 13. Who knows? So.
I don't know of any other player that does 13 as like their thing. I'm sure there is.
A-Rod wore 13 when he went to the Yankees. And
I don't know anybody that really embraced it other than...
I'm trying to think.
Anybody that like started from college.
There's a lot of 13s.
I'm sure there is.
Yeah,
I just can't think of anybody that really embraced
like,
it.
Think of a great, quarterback wise or something. There's not a ton of 13s running around.
There's a lot of 11s, 7s, 10s.
7s, 10s, 11s are obviously your most popular. A couple of 8s, but it's a rounded number. It doesn't work.
Montana was 8,
he was 16, so you get higher. Steve Young was 8.
Right, there you
go. Dan Marino was 13.
Yeah, there's one.
There's one.
We got one.
He never won a Super Bowl, so what does that tell you? Probably the greatest passer in the history of the NFL, and he never won a Super Bowl.
Shouldn't have wore 13, you dipshit.
He could have his legs broken and still throw for 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. It doesn't matter. He could be standing there double cast and just fucking gunning shit. He was awesome. So, and
with no payoff.
No payoff. Nothing, because he played for the Dolphins. So it's the turquoise and white uniforms. It's never going to pay off. So he ends up saying that he ends up getting locked up for that, for the house thing, because they had to take him to the hospital, and he's the kid who fell out the goddamn window. He ended up going to the Juvenile Justice Center, and he said an officer in the facility was a high school coach, and he said this person changed his life and, told him to focus on football. And this fellow intervened with the judge and asked if the judge would put him on house arrest instead of sending him to juvenile hall. And this high school coach said he would serve as his mentor and be responsible for him to make sure that he didn't fuck up. And, he basically said, put him under my watch and I'll you under my custody or whatever. Not custody, but
like a ward of the state.
Kind of, I'm responsible for him. And they knew him to be a responsible guy who coaches, is a coach that's been coaching a long time and that sort of shit. So, condition of the agreement, he'd have to go and lift weights and attend to the school where this guy coached. So he saw a player too. Yeah. So there's always a little silver in everybody. There's always every bit of help. They never help a kid who's not athletically gifted. Right. Like, I know he can't play, but I'm going to put him on the football team because he's a great kid. I think I can drag him through school that way and he'll have a great future. Right. Only the kid who's really good does he somehow take a shine to, which is suspect.
This is criminal blindside is what it is.
Criminal blindside.
So far.
Exactly. It takes him out of out of juvie.
Sometimes it doesn't work out, you guys.
No, and this doesn't work out at all, as we'll find out. I guess today it's okay, sort of, for now. Yeah. But we'll talk about it. He said that the coach would pick him up or he would get a ride to his school. He would work out with the guy. The guy would talk to him about life. And, obviously he said he would talk about how, Maurice's talent could take him on a different path in life and all that sort of shit. He told him about not hanging around with dipshits, which he completely ignored, obviously. But it stays in his mind for later so he could tell others. But he said that he knew that a bunch of guys where he's from are caught up in the streets and blah, 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 and all that sort of shit. But Maurice ignored it. He had to because he's a dipshit, as we'll find out.
Because he knows better.
He knows much better, as we'll find out. He always knows better. Yeah. Always. He went to Austintown Fitch First High School. He said it was a predominantly white school, which he said was different for him and was a little bit weird for him. He said he'd always been in majority black schools up to that point. So that was that was weird.
This is still in Ohio, though.
This is in Ohio. Yeah, it's just a different school. And he said, the kids had more money, and he said he just kind of felt a little bit out of place. Nobody outright made him feel that way. He just said he just didn't feel like he fit in here, which totally understandable.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, exactly. I went to a school in Phoenix when my mom lived here for like a month and a half before I moved back to New York, and it was the weirdest place with all rich kids. It wasn't normal.
I went to a ghetto-ass school in Central Phoenix, and then my mom moved me up to a school in North Phoenix, and that changed from getting my ass kicked all the time to seeing kids in like Tommy Hilfiger shirts that were real Tommy. Like they wore Bugle Boy
these were
down there.
Yeah.
And now they got real Tommy Hilfiger shirts up here. And I was like, it was bananas. It was very weird to see a kid in an $80 shirt.
You're like, wow, that shirt is wow. I love that. I don't have you fantasizing about, wow, I wish somebody bought me an $80 shirt.
$80 worth of clothes.
Dude, I remember seeing kids just being like, damn. Yeah. I remember seeing like, and I have to stop myself. I almost bought a pair of Jordans that I wanted when I was in the 7th grade, like a month ago. And I'm like, I only want these because I wanted them in the 7th grade. And I couldn't have them. That's the only reason I want these now. And I'm not going to buy these. That's it. Because I can no, I'm not doing it. Yeah. So I didn't buy them.
I was wearing like a jean Wrangler jacket with like that wool fur on the collar.
That's a solid look.
That's what I wore to school.
That's a good look because like you can turn that collar up when it's cold and really get that fur on the ears
in Arizona.
In Arizona, and it's nice. It's nice.
Really get the sweat going.
That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to work off those pounds, Jimmy, those unwanted childhood pounds. So, he goes to Warren G. Harding High after that, where he says that's where he really came into himself. Mm-hmm. And some other NFL players went there. Mario Manningham, the wide receiver, played for the Giants for a while, and I think the 49ers, I want to say also.
Did he leave the NFL already? Probably, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Last year was 2014 for him.
Jesus, 4 years ago.
Dan Herron, who played for the Bengals.
Tight end?
He's a running back. Bengals, Colts, and Bills. for like 3 years. Nailed it. Perfect. Got it.
I see the name on the jersey.
David Heron, which was a linebacker.
Okay.
Maybe that's his brother. I'm not sure.
Probably.
Played for 3 years. About Corey Stringer, the tackle who died. He died on the practice field in training camp. Big offensive lineman, had a heart thing and collapsed for the Vikings in 2000.
Oh, yeah. I do remember
2000,
that.
he went
like
there.
They were working out in like August, and it was super fucking hot.
Yeah, he's a 330-pounder, and he dropped Joey Browner, who was a safety, I believe, for the Vikings. I think he's a Hall of Famer, possibly. Also. A lot of old guys. Paul Warfield, who's he's a Hall of Famer, huge wide receiver for the Dolphins during their heyday and when they were perfect seasons and all that shit. So, and also John Schickernayo, which is my favorite name ever. John Schickernayo.
No idea.
I love it. He played for the Giants for 1 year in 1942. John Schickernayo.
But he gets his name in there.
Hey, Johnny Chicks. How you doing? That's what the guys called him. Johnny Chicks. He's here. Hey. He didn't care so much about football, but his hair was fucking perfect.
It's amazing.
His tie was always knotted right. Only played 1 year, but the chicks he brought around, I'll tell you what. So
he quit playing because that helmet really fucked up his hair.
Oh yeah, he didn't like it. He was like, I don't like it. Running back guys hitting me, gonna mess this was before face masks. He's like, gonna mess my nose up. I never had it broken. It's a pretty nose. I got let me tell you about the waves I put in my hair. It's fucking beautiful. I got Brill cream all in my helmet. It's not working out. So Johnny Chicks. He retired.
Chick or nay?
Chickernayo.
Chickernayo.
He retired in 42. He's like, I could go to war. I could keep playing football. I'm Johnny Chicks. And then he opened a bar under an overpass somewhere. Johnny Chicks' house. And he came over. So Ohio State, he has a connection with Maurice does, not John Chickernayo.
Right.
I don't know where he went to school. But he has a connection right away with Clarett early. He saw Jim Tressel, the coach of Ohio State, and who was coached them to much glory and also much embarrassment later on.
Once it came out.
He said he saw he was going to see his nephew play, and Maurice was he didn't even know. Maurice was a freshman
Just
at this time.
To be on the team.
Yeah, he didn't know who the hell he was. He said, quote, he was in 9th grade and I was the coach at Youngstown State, and he was from right here, and I went over to watch him play against my nephew's team. He had 240 something yards that day and ran over my poor nephew. I think he's still injured from a couple of those collisions. So that was his first impression of him. It was like, holy shit, this kid's 14. God damn. And he's got fresh stitches and he's still running people over.
Yeah, my nephew's gonna have a permanent click in his ankle.
That's perfect. That's good.
That fucking collision.
Yeah, he's never gonna remember his grandkids' names. That's the level of that's what he's gonna get to.
Jim Tressel got to watch the moment when all the lights went out,
and he's like, it was worth it. It was worth it.
So we found Maurice.
Yeah. One guy said, who's a Youngstown guy, a football guy around there, said, quote, he gained 475 yards one game and scored 9 touchdowns in a blizzard.
Blizzard.
He's a mutter.
Holy shit.
In a blizzard. So he's a big guy, just ran people over, and you couldn't tackle him in the snow, apparently.
All day.
So, in high school, he was absolutely ridiculous. And by 2001, before he's at the beginning of his senior season, January of 2001, he commits to play football at Ohio State. Right. So that's, I think, the end of his junior year before his senior season. He commits to play football at Ohio State. So that's a big deal. He said that took a lot of pressure off him for the senior season because he didn't have to worry about recruiting and all that shit. He said that he called them. He said, I knew they'd be recruiting me since I'm a local guy and all that shit, and I'm really good. He said, so I just got it out of the way. That's what I wanted to play for. So I was just like, hey, this is Maurice. I know you're going to be talking to me anyway, so what's up? And he goes, they were like, okay, well, that's different.
Can you imagine?
We don't have to go kiss his ass. We don't have to go talk to his mom. We don't have to fucking, bring him here and get him laid and fucking get him drunk, and we don't have to do any of that shit. He just wants to come here. Yeah, and they were like, okay, which, I mean, he was a huge
star.
He was a star in Ohio, and that's a local guy. They love that shit there. Right.
He's the original LeBron. He was LeBron before LeBron.
And this is during the time when LeBron was in high school, too. They knew each other.
Yeah.
They all,
really?
There's pictures of them in high school together with other, like, all-star athletes, and LeBron's much taller than all of them. But it's LeBron with his arm around Maurice Clarett and some other guy. They're all fucking 17 years old. Yeah, they're all from same area, so they're all huge stars. So I'm sure they go to the same, whatever fucking events they have where they kiss these kids' asses and jerk them off in a back room. I'm sure they're all in the same events, I think. They've been jerked off by the same hands. We'll say that.
Such different childhoods, me and these two guys.
Oh, fuck, me too. Yeah, way different. No one ever said you're special. Right. Everyone said, you're a problem. You're going to be an issue.
And people would say, keep that away from me more than let me see that.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Bananas.
These people, just everyone wants a piece of them.
So great.
Amazing. Imagine what that would be like. I couldn't handle it, though.
Sports prowess?
People sort of like us now, and I can just handle it now. Like 15 years ago, even. Never mind when I was 16, I would not be able to handle that at all. Even this amount, never mind their amount, which is more. This amount I wouldn't be able to handle. My brain would have melted down.
The amount of jerking off, I can't fucking fathom.
Forget about it. They didn't have to. People just did it for
them. That's what my point is. Like,
the royal penis is clean, Your Highness. I feel like that was said plenty.
My wrist could have used a break. Is all I'm saying.
Well, they would have given you one. So, in December, he rushes for 10 yards a carry and scores. This is at the end of the year. His stats are 10 yards per carry in high school.
Unbelievable. He averaged a first down.
He averaged a first. So why ever do anything else?
Right. Why throw the ball?
Just keep running it, dude. It doesn't matter. If you stop him from behind the line, he'll get 20 next time. So it doesn't matter. 10 yards and scores 22 touchdowns in the regular season for them. He is Mr. Football Ohio, which is the best player in the state that year. A USA Today High School All-American and Offensive Player of the Year. USA Today High School Offensive Player of the Year in the whole country.
Yeah.
So he is sitting on top of King Shit Mountain right now.
Incredible.
Thinking he is just fucking hot shit.
The amount of just the future is amazing.
It's so bright. It's
you wake
blinding.
up every day and go,
blinding.
Can you call what's going to happen today? Because I can't.
Because it's something good.
Yeah.
I know that. He's just zippity. He's just whistling zippity doo dah when he leaves the house.
The struggle of you trying to whistle.
Well, trying to laugh and whistle at the same time, which, by the way, does not work. You can't even. You have to be totally serious when you whistle. You have to get in like you motherfucker. I still can't. I'm still laughing. But you have to be real serious. Just be like, listen, motherfucker. I got a bone to pick with you. You're in trouble. Stop laughing. Stop laughing. I'm going to get it right. I'm going to do it. I can't.
I'm going to fall.
I can't do it.
I'm going to fall off my chair.
I've never noticed how serious you have to be to whistle before, but you really better be locked in, man. You better be fucking locked into that shit.
Unfucking believable.
Oh my God.
I almost popped a blood vessel laughing at the struggle to whistle. Jesus.
Maurice Clarett felt the same way because he was smiling so wide. He couldn't even whistle zippity doo dah.
On his way to the shower every morning.
Shit.
So I wish I could whistle, but I'm so excited about what today might hold. I can't do it.
I can't do it. And he's going to Ohio State, which is a huge football program, number one. It's one of the top in the nation. No one there can whistle. They're all excessively happy.
That's maybe the worst mascot of all football, though.
A Buckeye?
It's even their guy.
Yeah.
Like
they do get to put little weed leaves on their helmet, which I think is amusing. As a kid, I was always like, they put weed leaves on their helmets? That's cool.
But it's a Buckeye is like a fruit of a tree.
It's a nutsack.
It's the dumbest fucking thing.
It's a tree scrotum. Yeah. The Ohio State tree scrotums. The Ohio State tree scrotums. We apologize. Don't be disrespectful. I'm still laughing from whistling, man. I can't get my shit together tonight.
Jesus.
Mess, man.
James can't whistle, but he can damn sure put down your football program's mascot.
You got that right. Throw it at me. I'll put it down. That's my specialty. Anybody in the country. What do you got?
So, it's the dumbest mascot. It's stupid.
So he's a nutsack, which is nice. He's a tree scrotum, he's very proud. He gets there in 2002. He said that Jim Tressel, the coach, called him into his office, and he listed 13 challenges that he said Maurice would face in the coming months. He said he chose the number 13 because that's what Clarett's jersey number was, and little did he know also the number of staples he got in his fucking head. But he's worn that number since then, so he thought that would stick with Maurice, because he apparently thinks Maurice is so fucking stupid that he won't remember how many things that he needs to look out for unless it matches the large white numbers on his chest, written on his fucking chest, which Maurice is not a dumb guy. That's the other thing. He's not stupid at all.
Really?
No, he's not. He's
fucking bananas.
He's a fucking idiot, but he's not stupid.
Okay.
Like, he's intelligent. He's just his judgment is terrible. Absolutely. He is guided by others very easily. He's very easily influenced by other people, as we'll find out too. Yeah. And it makes sense after college. What we'll talk about it. But So what ends up happening here? Maurice says, "quote He told me to expect new friends to come around. He said popularity would come, increased attention from the media." And Tressel said that Maurice blew all of these things off. Yeah. He said, "quote A year or so later, he's in my office again, and every one of those 13 things had happened to him." So I was right, you were wrong. Let's talk about what a moron you are.
I'd love to sit down with Tressel and hear all 13.
I want to hear. See, I was mad that I couldn't find the list. I actually was looking for the 13 things, and no one actually.
Just by the fact you didn't rattle them off right now, I knew that it was too far.
It's deep.
Tressel is keeping that in a pants pocket somewhere and not telling anybody.
To the vest. That's his. He gives it to everybody. He's got like 15, and he just parses it out. Anybody over number 15, I don't bother.
Depending on their character.
Yeah. Right. Listen, I've got 74 points of action for you to take. As coach, man, that's a little much.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's it.
Everyone out there should listen to Small Town Murder. You really should, mainly because you never know who's next door. And that's the point of this show, really. You never know who is next door. You never know what's going to happen on Small Town Murder. That's what makes it so wonderful. The only thing you do know is that people are going to die, and we're probably going to make jokes about it. That's it. That's all we can promise you. We dig into these towns, we see what makes them tick, from local legends to scandals they may have had, and of course, the biggest scandals of all, horrible murders that take place there. And we put what I feel is a completely appropriate comedic spin on the whole thing. And you know you need a laugh right now, so get in there, listen to Small Town Murder, follow Small Town Murder on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Small Town Murder early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
So Maurice said, quote, he saw it all coming, which I'm sure he's seen it before, Jim Tressel. August 20th, 2002. He's a freshman. Now, a lot of guys, most of the time, they redshirt their freshman year. They don't even fucking play. Right. They're not even playing. It won't happen at all. They're just sitting out the whole year. Instead, on August 20th, this is preseason, he is listed as the starting running back, which is insane.
Right now,
it's the first time that a freshman has opened opened as starter at the position at Ohio State since 1943, since World War II. Right. And that's probably why, because the seniors went to fight the Japanese and Nazis. That's how fucking long ago this was.
They needed a freshman.
Yeah, they needed a freshman because they were like, well, I don't know, we'll get him a year of eligibility in before we send him off to the Pacific Theater.
So there was U-boats on Earth, and that was what we were worried about last time.
The last time this happened. Yeah, exactly. So we were building up our attack. So this is fucking crazy. In his first game, too, he makes Tressel look smart because he has 175 yards and 3 touchdowns against Texas Tech in his first game.
Holy shit.
So, I mean, he is goddamn barely 19 years old at this point.
I'd like to know how many running backs since that day have done that.
Yeah.
That's how hard that shit is to
yeah,
do.
especially against Texas Tech is a decent program. He didn't do it against some shit, third-rate, second Division 2A team. Right. And then a few weeks later here, he has 230 yards and two touchdowns against Washington State, which is another decent program, unless you count Ryan Leaf being there, but that's another story. That's another story that we happen to cover. I think it's episode 13 or 14 of Crime and Sports. So check that out.
Well, this is a good team, though. They've had a program for a long time.
They're a real team. Yeah. They're a Division I team here, and that's the first of a 5-game streak he has with 5 games that has 100 of yards rushing.
Unbelievable.
So as a freshman, that's absolutely bonkers. Yeah. I mean, that's wild. Yeah, you can't ask for more than that. I mean, I
think that's when I found out about him.
Yeah. Oh, he blew up. That was a freshman is doing this. This was a huge national story that a freshman freshman running backs don't do this. This is weird. He says, looking back, the beginning of the end was my first college game. It was my most proud and coolest moment. That's when I think everything started because he felt good about himself and everybody's been telling him how great he is. And now he's at Ohio State, and people like outside of the locals are telling him that. There's national media that
people have no idea about anything about him other than what they've seen him do on the field.
They don't know he fell out of a window, running from the owner of a house. They don't know any of this shit. They just go, "Why are you so great?" And he goes, "I guess I'm great. Everybody says I'm so great." And I could see as a 19-year-old kid being thrust into the national spotlight, and everybody goes, "You're so great. How'd you do it?" And you go, "I must be I must be brilliant, great, athletic. I must be gifted and perfect." That's the only
everything that they tell me I am.
Yeah.
I am.
See, I can whistle even. I got it down now. I'm focused is what I'm telling you. You get what I'm saying? I feel it right now. So October of 2002, things slow down a little bit when he injures his left shoulder and misses 2 games with an injury here. He says at this point he received a lot of hate mail from Ohio State fans.
How fast they turn.
Yes. Well, this was because he had said, they interviewed him in ESPN, the magazine, and they said, "So you're doing so well as a freshman in your first few games, you have all these yards. Are you going to play for 4 years, or are you going to be ready for the NFL? You're going to come out early, like a lot of people do." And he said, "Well, maybe I'll come out early. Who knows? We'll see what happens," and blah, blah, blah. So Ohio State fans were like, "Fuck this guy," and we're sending him hate mail over it. And then he hurts himself. They're like, "You fucking lazy bastard, and you want to come out early." And football,
right? You deal with what you get.
College football fans, you people are monsters. I'm sorry. I don't care. These fucking people, they do not care what is in the way of their team winning a game against a bunch of other teenagers. I don't understand what your obsession is with it. It's not fucking healthy, and it's creepy. I just want to tell you that right now.
Well, I think it's generally surrounded around they know that these people are leaving soon. And if the team's good at the moment,
happy for them. If they gave you,
that's what you're supposed to do. That's what decent people do.
Even if he played for 2 games, if that gave you some joy, and then he goes on to now he can support us. Be fucking happy for him. What is wrong with people?
But because you sat in the same history building, you're furious at them.
Most of the people didn't even go to the fucking college. They're from that area. I live an hour away, and that's what's on television on Saturdays. So fuck him. Like what? The fuck does that have to do with him? Crazy people, man.
ASU fans, to their credit, they could give a fuck
They don't
about
care.
that team.
The team's never been good enough to care about, so they're like...
And then the one time they are in 1996, then everybody like gets behind them, and then they lose, and then everybody's like, fuck.
Oh, well, whatever. They never do it again, so like, whatever, fine. It doesn't matter. So, December of 2002, he publicly blasts the Ohio State officials here, the athletic department, for not letting him fly home for the funeral of a friend of his. He accuses the university administrators of lying when they say publicly that he didn't file the paperwork necessary for emergency financial aid for the flight. Because there's certain holes in the NCAA where, like, if somebody dies, they can fucking buy, whatever. They could get you a suit or some shit, or they could send you home, travel allowances for shit. I don't know what the fuck.
That's a fucked up rule. The only way we can help you is if somebody fucking dies.
Other than that, you're on your own. We're sorry. You can get money from other people, but if we catch you, then we're going to just lambaste you publicly.
Oh, it's going to be bananas.
Call you the worst person in the world. Right. Call you a criminal, essentially, because you took money for work. Right. We'll get into this
Best of luck getting a professional career after this.
Yeah, that's it. Everyone's
Cam Newton should be thanking his lucky stars that he has a career.
He was so good, they were like, who cares? He's a quarterback, and he's good. There's no quarterbacks. I don't care.
He's tall and he's black.
Whatever. Look at him. He throws, he runs, he's fantastic. A running back, they're like, there's a bunch of other running backs. Well, a quarterback, they're like, well, there's only a couple of them. So... What is it, a rape charge? Now, is this a hard rape? What are we talking?
How hard?
How was it? Let's be real. Come on, wink, wink, nod, nod. We're all guys here.
How many days was she sore?
That's what I feel like they do, though. That's the disturbing part.
Of course.
Now, Maurice says, quote...
Because there's 32 football teams, and maybe 24 of them have a good quarterback.
That's, shit. They have a mediocre
and
one.
that is being so generous.
There's like 8 good quarterbacks, like 6 decent quarterbacks, and a bunch of second-string quarterbacks. That's what's playing right now in the NFL. It's fucking pathetic.
It's a travesty.
That's why the NFL is a little weak at the moment, I would say.
And no wonder they want to protect that guy, because there aren't many.
There's no, they're like, if he gets hurt, now what?
Then what?
Now what are we going to do? No one cares about the guy behind him. So
you can't punt all 4 downs.
Jesus. All 4 downs. That's awesome. Punting all 4 downs. 1st and 10. What do we do? Punt team. Let's go. Punt team. Get in there. So Maurice says, quote, when I was in college, I was just confused. I had no idea what to do. I was in a place where I had to make decisions that would basically affect the rest of my life, and I was making them all based on emotions. That makes sense. Okay. I totally get you right there. That's a really, he says this later, obviously, when he's got some clarity. But that's true, I think, and good. But on the field, there's no confusion, and there's no confusion for Ohio State. They roll through this season. They are crushing people. They have a 14-0 record that year in the end. Absolutely crushed people, 8-0 in the conference, obviously. The whole thing here. He said... on the field, that doing well, the better he did, the more money he would get from boosters and shit. Sure. We'll talk about exactly how that worked in a minute here. He said that also made him drink and do drugs and have sex and all that sort of shit.
My kind of guy.
He's like, well, it's all here.
Yeah.
He said his coach Tressel was warning him about, I've seen this before, dude. You're getting famous and everybody wants a piece of you. Be careful. And he says he remembered thinking, quote, Coach, we're still winning. I don't need to slow down. I'm fucking cool. Which is a bad way to go about it, unless you're like, literally there's like 5 guys who have overcome that with pure talent and drive. Right. They're just so driven on the field. Like LT could be Lawrence Taylor could be the worst crackhead maniac off the field. Once he got on the field, he's the greatest player that there is, and it doesn't matter.
Legs.
Doesn't fucking matter. He's the most focused. He doesn't give it. That's all he cares about. Yeah. And then crack later. But that's later. Most people can't do that. They can't compartmentalize those two things.
I don't know if you saw it the other day. The quarterback for the
Alex
Redskins.
Smith.
Yes, Alex Smith. The exact same day,
exact
same injury, exact same team, exact same position,
fucking mess,
and the same position,
Redskins and everything. Yeah, absolutely.
Snapped his.
It's bonkers, man.
The thing.
It's too much. It's too much.
All the same is fucked up.
You get a quarterback you like, Redskins, we're going to snap his fucking leg. That's what the Giants have told you at this point in time. So be careful.
It's crazy.
Twice a year we play us, so enjoy.
Unbelievable.
So, they go all the way through to the Fiesta Bowl, which is the national championship that year in Phoenix at the Tempe
whatever,
Sun Devil Stadium.
Shit stadium.
I believe this is the game where Willis McGahee blows his knee out. Am I wrong about that?
Against it was Miami.
Well, it was against Miami.
Yeah.
That was the game. This poor bastard was a fucking top 5 pick running back for the Miami, and he was so good. Yeah. And halfway through the national championship game, he fucking blows his ACL out and drops down to the end of the first round. I mean, cost him millions of dollars in one play.
He ended up playing for the Broncos too.
Yeah, he ended up bouncing around and being a good running back, but he was never the same guy that he was. And it was all that one. And I remember going, that is so. He's sitting there going, no. I mean, I guarantee you, he had a big insurance policy against that sort of thing because they
fingers crossed.
Everybody, all those guys do that immediately.
Do they?
Fuck yeah.
I mean,
yeah. If you're projected to be a top 3 draft pick, you have insurance.
Okay.
You have an insurance policy.
He was a good player still. Eventually,
he was really good.
He could have been.
But yeah, that whole first year, he was out for most of the first year and whatever.
So fast.
But Maurice is a beast in that game. And Ohio State, he scores the winning touchdown. Also, Maurice does, and they win 31-24 and win the national championship, which is huge for them also. So he's a fucking hero there. That season, he plays in 11 games, 222 rushing attempts, 1,237 yards. We'll talk about these. That's a freshman record for yards for Ohio State. 5.6 per carry.
Yeah.
5.6 as a freshman.
Every 2 downs.
Bonkers. That's 16 touchdowns. Yeah. Also had 12 receptions for 104 yards and 2 touchdowns. A monster, basically.
Yeah.
Just Big Ten freshman of the year.
Wow.
Freshman records all around. National champion. Grace.
Wow.
This is Grace.
That's
right here.
it.
This is definitely Grace. This is, we'll call it, as we said, this is a hard Grace right here. This is is it a brick wall? This would be like when they launch like NASA launches a rocket into space, like the rockets and it fucking shoots off the ground. Yeah. If it's shooting off the ground and there was just a brick wall, a mile up and it just shot right into it, just bow and exploded into a million pieces. It didn't just peter out and dive into the ocean. Just boom, it just hits a fucking wall of atmosphere.
Worse than Challenger.
It makes Challenger look like a pussy. Just makes Challenger look like Disney. Fuck that, man. Like a Pixar movie.
It was a happy ending with Challenger.
A happy little teacher flying out of burning into the ocean. Sorry, that was mean. Okay, everybody likes her. What was her name?
I don't know.
Sally.
That's how much we... Sally Ride?
Sally. Was that her?
Is it Sally Ride?
I don't know.
That's a hell of a ride.
She rode into the ocean on a
what a
fiery
terrible...
box.
I
don't know if that's... She was an astronaut,
That is
I think.
a terrible fucking name for that.
That's not good. That's not good.
That is awful if that's true.
No, that's bad shit. So Maurice in college is doing what he calls switching cars like crazy. Now let's talk about what they do in college a little bit here.
Okay.
Basically, people lend you cars.
Right.
You don't get a car that's your car in your name. Dealerships that are friendly with the program lend you cars.
That makes sense.
So you switch it out every 3 weeks, every month or so nobody catches on to what's going on. It's all a loan to the program, and you're driving it. So they loan it to some other booster or some shit like that, and you end up driving it. There's no paperwork for you. It's just so all these guys are driving around in these hot ass cars, and it's based on the fact that their coach is getting them a car. It's ridiculous. He had a 2001. He borrowed quote car from the car store in 2003. It was a 2001 Monte Carlo loaded up with all cooked up
it's
and
all
shit.
Leather.
Yeah, all nice, and it was just purchased at auction, and somehow he's got it. He drove it to practice, and he said while he was working out, somebody broke into the car and stole a bunch of shit. He says he called Jim Tressel saying, "What do I do?" And they said to call the campus police, and he called them from the football office. They said he meets a campus policeman. They asked what was missing, and he told them that there was quote assorted TVs.
What?
I have assorted TVs in my car. I don't know what that means.
Okay.
Radios, plural. Radios, CDs, because this is 2003.
What, do you have a fucking Best Buy in the trunk?
He basically had a mobile Best Buy that he was working out of here.
What is he doing?
Plus his wallet and some clothes. The cop asked how much the TVs and the radio were worth, and Clarett says he could only guess because it was a borrowed car, so he didn't know, obviously. A car he'd only had for 12 hours. He's like, I don't know. I just got this car. He said that the cop also asked him how many CDs were in the car. car, and he guessed that there was 2 cases containing up to 300 CDs. The cop said that each CD, assuming at the time, cost $15 each, and they multiplied that all up and said that it was $800 cash, $5,000 in audio components, $300 in clothing, $4,500 in CDs.
Wow.
At fucking retail cost. If you took those to a place and sold them, they'll be like, we'll give you $8 for all 300 of them. And a black leather, like a attaché type of thing.
Oh, okay,
like
gotcha. A man purse.
Like a carrying.
All right.
Yeah,
he had a briefcase.
Kind of one of like a folding briefcase. Total of $10,150 in stolen items is what's listed here. Now let's go through some dates. July 12, 2003. New York Times quotes a teaching assistant for Ohio State who says that Clarett gets preferential treatment. She says he walked out of a midterm exam in the middle of it, but passed the class after the professor, quote, gave him an oral exam, which sounds really terrible.
Sounds dirty.
He passed it with oral,
right.
But it also sounds like it's full of shit and it can be easily doctored because nothing's written down. July,
he knew it.
He knew. Oh, of course he did. Right. We'll talk about what he knows. July 29, 2003, Ohio State confirms the NCAA is investigating Maurice's claim about the $10,000 stolen from his car.
Oh, no.
He said he had borrowed it from a local dealership. September 9th, 2003, he's charged with misdemeanor falsification for the police report of the theft because the amounts and the things stolen are less than what he says. The charge carries a penalty ranging from probation to 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine.
Oh, God.
Now, he publicly says, quote, I genuinely and sincerely apologize to my teammates at the and to the Ohio State University for any of the tree scrotums for any embarrassment this incident may have caused. He said he used the car to do a workout and he wasn't trying to hurt anybody. One of the university people said, quote, Maurice did exaggerate and inflate the values he placed upon the reported items. So that was the property was never found, and the police ended up closing the case in the end here.
Okay.
He doesn't end up getting any probation or anything like that. They just go, let's just say, fuck it.
Yeah.
You're not getting your shit back. We don't know how much it costs. This is weird.
But so he inflated the value.
He inflated the value.
Benefit of the doubt there too, and just be like, he doesn't know it's not his stuff.
He said he was just with the cop, and the cop goes, how many CDs? Yeah, about $15 a piece. Bang, bang, bang. What does that cost? Like he was doing like Price is Right, like quick retail value shit, dude. Like just slapping costs on.
And then all of a sudden he gets a wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
And then he's got to go to jail for this?
Yeah,
he
wasn't like, going through receipts or anything.
Right.
So, the athletic director, Andy Geiger, announces Clarett is suspended on September 10th, 2003 for the entire season for receiving special benefits worth thousands of dollars from a family friend and repeatedly misleading NCAA investigators. That is through that car thing. They trace that back a little bit.
This is annoying because it's not his fault.
No, this, oh boy, this is coming. Wait a second here.
It's just annoying because it's
more than annoying.
This deserves
is
it.
Fucking criminal is what this is.
Leave the man alone.
This is I hate the NCAA in football more than they're the most evil fucking. They're the evil empire. They're fucking Darth Vader. They're awful.
But the rules that they set up are structuring them to.
The rules are just set up arbitrarily to benefit them.
Right. But they're set up. A guy that's working as hard as he's working, getting the accolades he's getting, you think that you deserve more. So you're just going to accept whatever people offer you.
You fucking do deserve more. If there are 50, if there's 70,000 people there and they're all fucking wearing Ohio State jerseys and they're cheering for me because I'm the star of the fucking team.
13 jerseys sold.
And I can't take my girlfriend out to the fucking movies unless it's some illegal thing that I get. Fuck you. Fuck you. You know what I mean? I'm doing this for you. All these people are here for me because but fuck you.
Nobody's showing up to see Jim Tressel coach.
That's the thing. If none of us are here, none of us. No, we'll get to it in 1 second because there's more to this here.
Okay.
So, the Ohio State suspends him. Now, he says after he's suspended, Jim Tressel has the balls to say, quote, I personally think we won a lot more games without Maurice than people give us credit for. I definitely think we can do it again. I know we can. This team is bigger than any one player.
Fuck you,
So
Jim.
he's given that. Now, Maurice says, fuck this shit. files a federal lawsuit against the NFL.
Really?
Against the NFL, against the NCAA, against all of this whole shit, because they have in 1992, the NFL or the NCAA set up rules, and this is all finger fucking with the NFL. The NFL Players Association has no say in this whatsoever. Right. This is just the NCAA set up rules to where you can't come out in football unless you are 3 years removed from high school. You're not eligible for the NFL draft.
That's fucked up.
It's a arbitrary rule that means nothing. Right. All it is we're going to squeeze this much life out of you and make this much money out of you before you're allowed to go make a living on your own. And it goes, and this, I'm going to say this shit.
Fucked up.
It's the most fucked up, and people get pissed off, and people make this, they politicize this, which is ridiculous, because I don't care which side you're on, you're both should be on his side. First of all, if you're a conservative and you just don't like athletes doing whatever, if you're a conservative,
making all that money,
this is the free market. This you are supposed to like the free market. You don't get any more free market than a man who puts his wares for sale to the highest bidder, who then will pay him for them. If there's people willing to pay a person for their services, no one should be allowed to say you're not allowed to do that because I'm still making money off of you. That's indentured servitude, is what that is.
That's slavery.
And for that, you get room and board, and you get to get an education that doesn't mean shit to you because you're trying to play football for a fucking living.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
It's ridiculous. And people go, oh, they get an education. Yeah, that's great. They get an education. But if they're there for football and they're trying to move to the next level, they don't give a fuck about that education. And you don't make them concentrate on it. You let them fucking float through the shit. But then if they want to go make something for themselves, sorry, you can't do that. It's absolutely asinine. It's the most criminal shit ever. And if you're a liberal person or if you're on the left, it's fucking racist as shit too. Because I'm serious.
It is.
Football's a pretty fucking black sport.
Sure enough.
And college football, some of the lower level shit, there's more white guys because it's a lower level. But Ohio State's got a lot of fucking black guys on, is what I'm getting at. There's a lot of black guys doing this shit. And I don't care if the black guys, white guys, it's not a matter of race. It's a matter of what the fuck are we doing? We can't let people do this. In baseball, in the NCAA, completely different.
Sure.
In baseball, you can come out every year for the draft. You don't have to come out. You can be drafted. You don't have to declare. You're just drafted, and then you decide whether you want to go play for that team or stay in college. So you can see, I was drafted in the 10th round. That's not good enough. I'll try another year to get up the draft. You can't do that in football.
Change sports even.
Yeah. Once
do anything you want.
Absolutely. You can play in baseball, though. You can go back and forth. Remember the Brian Taylor episode? He was going to go to class. That's what I mean. You have all these options. Whereas in football, once you hire an agent and once you fucking declare yourself for the draft, you can't play again.
You're done.
You can't change your mind because you've talked to an agent. Oh my God. And the people who are pissed off at it, it's the agents that are doing. No. Some guy who wants to get somebody what the fuck they deserve.
Right.
That's what they need. These are children in a group, in a fucking children and young men in a world of ruthless billionaires and fucking business people and athletic directors trying to keep their jobs and all these fucking people.
In a sport that you're playing every day and every down that might end your fucking career.
Any fucking second.
Every time. Ask Le'Veon Bell. That's why he's doing what he's doing.
That's absolutely right. And your signing bonus is all the fuck you get, and you get players out there get every fucking dime you can.
Do it.
A few of you listen, and I get it. We don't give a shit. We're not going to fault you for it.
Never.
Not that you care what we think, but if any fans do, they're shit fans, and fuck them. Get yours. Take care of your goddamn family because no one's going to care about you when your fucking leg is hanging off.
Ask Doug, fucking the guy from the Seahawks. God damn it! I was having so much fun for a second. Fucking Doug.
Sorry, this dress. Ask Doug.
Go get it, Doug.
Fucking Doug knows.
Doug knows that it's too late because he fucking tore his knee up.
He knows it.
Yeah.
So this happened in 92. That
I want to say his last name. I can't pull it out.
It's fucking great. I'm gonna leave you.
We were doing great.
We were cruising. We were doing really well.
All right.
He files a lawsuit basically saying that this is all horseshit and it's completely against America, the Constitution, everything that this country stands for, and it's ridiculous.
How old is he at this point?
19, 20, just turned 20, I think.
A 21-year-old kid who's passing on quote-unquote oral exams is now going to fucking quote the Constitution.
There's lawyers that have been itching for this fight, though. There's lawyers that have been itching for this fight. But normally, and this is the thing, football is self-policing in this way.
Yeah.
If you're 19 and you're not physically ready to play football in the NFL, you won't fucking get drafted.
Yeah.
Period. They'll look at you, and that's what they say in this lawsuit. They say the combine process, they go over you with a fine-tooth comb physically. They test every measurable there is, psychological exams, interviews. If they decide you're not physically or mentally mature enough to play in the league, no one's going to fucking draft you. So these people, they get agents ahead of time, and they'll tell them, hey, look, you're like a fucking 6th-round draft pick or something. You might want to go back to school. They should be able to do that. And anyway, so
wouldn't that be great?
That's what I mean. They should be able to get advice, but to get advice, you're automatically disqualified. But we find out, and I find out from this book I read, that that is complete horseshit. Every one of these guys who's half decent has some agent talking to them from the time they're freshmen. It's not even a matter of they give them money, they take care of them. It's not a lot of money. Like this guy was saying how they would do it. They would say, like, what do you need, basically? And they would ask for a bunch of money, and they would say, what do you need? And the guy might say, I need $300 for my rent. I'm a little short. And they give him $300, and then he would, little amounts of money and, no big amounts, because then the guys would just walk away from you. The athletes would, and go find some other sucker to give them $5,000. And they should be doing that.
3-card Monty.
Because everyone is doing it that's their whole life is being drained of every life force they have. So why the fuck not? This whole thing, the Ohio State, committee, by the way, in December of 2003, they find no evidence to support allegations of academic misconduct by any athletes, including Clarett.
I love it.
Which is we've checked out
We've really done some digging.
We're pretty clean. We're just going to say that right now. We don't think we deserve to be in trouble.
Ohio State doing an internal investigation. We'll handle this internally.
Which all the colleges do that, because they seem to get less penalty if they bring out their own garbage and bring it to the NCAA. But they were like, nope, all clear.
We've done a thorough investigation.
We're good. January 14, 2004, they had charged him with lying in a police report with the whole cars stealing shit here. He ends up, the way it gets dropped is he's pleads guilty to lesser charge of failure to aid a law enforcement officer, and it's like a maximum fine of $100, and then it clears off his record eventually.
Failure to aid
aid a law enforcement. It's just whatever. Now
I mean, a law enforcement officer can't press plus on his fucking
that's
calculator?
What I mean. Like, he didn't aid. It originally was lying on a police report.
Okay,
so this is a lesser. This is like a light misdemeanor. We'll say this is not a hard misdemeanor.
That's a tough charge.
It's a tough charge. Now, February 5th, 2004, he is ruled eligible for the 2004 NFL draft by a U.S. district judge in New York. Okay. This is a big victory. The NFL's heads fucking explode. NCAA is like, oh, no, we need to fucking drain these children of all of their life force.
Right.
Oh, scumbags. So, problem is, a federal appeal puts that on hold. An appeal by the NFL puts that on hold. So he files another emergency appeal. And the NFL argues that it would be unfair to a team that picked Clarett if he were later ruled ineligible. That's what he said. So
that makes sense.
He can't be in this draft, because then if he's ruled ineligible for the draft, it's like, how about we just forget about who's fucking ineligible and just draft him if you want to draft him,
That's
in the free market, because this is America and all.
That's a good point.
Why don't we just do that?
I understand what the NFL is saying, that what if later on something gets changed, but why do they get to change
What do you care?
Right.
What do you care?
Why do they get to say?
Just go, he's in the league now. We don't give a shit what happened in college. That's their problem.
It's not our problem anymore.
Fuck off, college. Right. Fuck you. But they need the NCAA. Right. They need them. That's their feeder system. They get free minor leagues. This is in baseball. They have to fucking set up all those teams and pay for it, and take buses all around the country. This is a free, open minor league for you, where they get them up, they get them all polished. They preach that it's a pro style offense. We'll get you ready for the NFL. That's all done for them.
Why isn't that more fucking popular thought? Why doesn't more people know that?
I don't understand.
I don't know.
I don't know. People, because they like college football and they don't care. It's just they don't care.
Their
kids are playing for the love of the game. No, they're not. No, they're playing it like everybody else to fucking advance themselves.
They're not going to stop it because people show up to see.
That's the thing.
To see Michigan versus Michigan State. Nobody shows up to see the fucking the barn burner down in fucking Omaha of AAA baseball.
That's the thing. Nobody cares. Nobody You're absolutely right. So May of 2004, the Court of Appeals finally formally rules against Maurice Clarett, meaning he will not be eligible for a supplemental draft and will have to wait till the 2005 draft when he's 3 years out of high school to enter.
So they're now forcing him to abide by the rules.
Sit. Yeah, he has to sit. So he sits out. So a running back sitting out could be good if he stays in shape because it keeps him healthy. Running backs have mileage. They're like a
bottom bitch.
Yeah, no, they have an expiration date. Right. They only have a certain amount of hits and runs in those legs before. Right. That's why you see running backs retire at 29. They literally, if you're a running back, you got to get yours because most guys don't play past 30 or they get a reduced role or they're not a star past 30.
There are very few Marshall Faulks.
That's the thing. Very few Frank Gores out there, like we said. So now we'll talk a little bit about this book that his agent wrote. It's a guy named Josh Fuchs, and he writes. It's what the hell is it called? A Legal Procedure, I believe. I've read it 3 times.
That sounds right.
Yeah, and it's like
that's a good pun.
It's interesting. Josh Fuchs, Fuchs. Look it up because if you want to know how the NCAA, how the recruiting of football players by agents of college football players, and how that translates to the NFL and how all that shit actually works, this book is fucking pretty good for it.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
Behind the closed doors of government offices and military compounds, there are hidden stories and buried secrets from the darkest corners of history. From covert experiments pushing the boundaries of science to operations so secretive they were barely whispered about. Each week, on Redacted, Declassified Mysteries, we pull back the curtain on these hidden histories. 100% true and verifiable stories that expose the shadowy underbelly of power. Consider Operation Paperclip, where former Nazi scientists were brought to America after World War II, not as prisoners, but as assets to advance U.S. intelligence during the Cold War. These aren't just old conspiracy theories. They're thoroughly investigated accounts that reveal the uncomfortable truths still shaping our world today. The stories are real. The secrets are shocking. Follow Redacted, Declassified Mysteries on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Redacted early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
This guy talks about he starts kind of goes with this new agency, and him and this guy Steve Feldman are representing. They're handling Maurice, okay, and they see him as a very talented guy, obviously. And if they're looking at it like if he stays in shape this whole year, and he's going to be a fucking beast, and we could have something real potential on our hands.
Sure.
So they go to meet him.
You like mortgages?
I love mortgages. So
I love more when I can pay.
I love when I pay my mortgage. So let's talk to this guy, asshole or not.
Yeah.
So they go to meet Maurice, and Maurice is staying at this is amazing, by the way, what a fluff piece we'll call on a friend's couch.
Yeah.
Okay, which sounds like somebody's got like a 2-bedroom condo, and they got a fold out that they're letting you crash on.
Not even close.
They're quiet when they're making breakfast in the morning because you had a late night. Yeah,
Maurice is asleep.
Don't fry the bacon. Keep it to lower temperature. It pops real loud.
He's got to study his playbook later.
See, just keep it calm so we can whistle. So instead,
whose fucking couch is this?
Instead, it is a seaside fucking giant sprawling mansion. Estate.
Not in Ohio?
No. This is in California. Far from Ohio. In LA. It is the house of an Israeli gangster.
What?
I think his name is Hai Wakam is his name. Hai Wakam. He's a fucking notorious Israeli, what the agents were calling everyone else. He's staying with a friend who's a real estate developer.
Yeah.
Who he did develop some real estate.
I bet he did.
But he's also a fucking gangster. They said that the agent said there was helicopters hovering over his house as they were coming in. A large armed man answered the fucking door.
What the fuck?
A huge 6'5", 400-pound guy with a gun in his front of his waistband answers the door and brings him in there.
And Maurice is rubbing his eyes on the ottoman.
And they're like, no, Maurice is like, they can't get to Maurice. So they're like, they have to like go through. They have to talk to this Hai Wakam lunatic.
Yeah.
They have all these crazy people around.
He's doing like Krav Maga in the living room.
Yeah. No, seriously, dude. He's fucking taking people down, choking them out. It's crazy what's going on. And like, apparently Maurice is staying with this guy now. Now they basically have control over Maurice's shit.
Yeah.
Basically they said, hey, you stay here, whatever. We'll take care of you. We'll pay for all your training, because all the pre-draft pick combine shit, all that. We'll pay for your training, room and board, hook you up. You can drive a new BMW, get you an Xbox, you can play Madden on. Literally, that was one of the things he wanted. And they're going to take a piece of his contract, and they're going to tell the agents how to push him, and they're going to be in control of what goes on with this guy. Yeah, that's what I mean. This is what happens when you're 20 and you see a guy with a giant house that overlooks the ocean, and you're like, well, he must know what he's talking about.
Whatever he says.
That guy's got a gun. Yeah. Sounds good. So
that guy's got it.
It's fucking insane. So I guess
that's a good point.
Fine.
When I was 20, you could easily influence me by, that's my friend, he's got a gun.
He's got a huge house, and he pays for a guy with a gun to hang out with him. I'd be like, well, that seems legit. Yeah. This is right. This is going down right here. I get it. So in this book, he talks about how he was obsessed. Maurice was obsessed with David Boston. Do you remember David Boston, the Cardinals receiver, who was jacked up and muscular and got busted for HGH because he was so jacked up and muscular and had DUIs and shit?
Yeah.
He was obsessed, Maurice was, with how jacked David Boston was, and wanted to work with the same guy that David Boston worked with. And unfortunately, that's the guy who was hooked up with all the HGH shit, I guess, was a problem. So they were trying to get him to, like they said, he'd go do a workout, and he was bench pressing like a bastard, and he was strong, and he was big, overweight and shit like that. And but he would never run. They never saw him run. All he would do was jog.
He never did cardio?
They worked with him with an Olympic. He would do like stairs and shit, but they worked with him with an Olympic sprinter to see and he wouldn't run. He would just jog around the track. Like they were like, what the fuck is going on with this guy? Why won't he run?
Yeah.
They said, by the way, another story from the Israeli house. He goes over there. They were telling him that he needs to do this, he needs to do that. He needs to run in the sand. He needs to work out. He needs to be thinner. He needs to come into the combine lighter than he was last year. He needs to run a better 40 than he did last year. He needs to make a spark. And Maurice didn't like the direction of the conversation, so he got up and he goes, "Man, I gotta go. The sun's going down." And they're like, well, I don't understand. And he goes, "Man, it's Shabbat." And he walks away.
What? He's now Jewish?
And Steve Feldman, one of his turns and goes, "What the fuck? It's fucking Wednesday. What the fuck is he talking about? I don't think he's Jewish.
Right.
I don't know what's happening."
It's 11 a.m.
A 20-year-old black dude from Ohio just told us it was Shabbat and walked out of the fucking room. I don't know what's going on here. This is weird as shit.
And then he whistled.
That was it. And then he was like, "It's Shabbat." He's very serious about it. You could tell how serious he is.
Unbelievable.
So this Josh Fuchs talks, he does not like Maurice. He says out of all the players he's ever represented, Maurice is pretty much the only guy that he doesn't personally care for.
Really?
Didn't like him, thought he was a jerk, thought he was an asshole. The way he put it, he said, if there was a pile of money and a pile of shit on the table, Maurice would reach for the pile of shit. It's just the way, it's the type of person he was. He was just such a fucking disaster. He said they took him one time to work out with a guy who helps people get ready for the combine, get up there 40 times in their shuttle drills and all that shit that's really important for running backs that they grade you on. And they go to this guy, and it's out on the beach in Long Beach. And he says, they get Maurice to follow him out there to the beach, and they couldn't get him out of the car. He was in the car on the phone for a half hour. They left everybody waiting on the phone, waving him off. Yeah. Finally gets done. And on the phone, and like, okay, yeah, this is what we're going to do. You got to run in the sand. And he goes, I don't want to. And they're like, well, you have to. Like, you need this for the combine. Your times are important. And he goes, I don't run in the sand, and just drove off.
What?
It's Shabbat. And he drove away. It's the weirdest fucking shit, dude. I don't understand it at all. But
that's amazing.
It's super amazing.
That's how much
it's fucked.
That's how impressed with himself he is, and that's how much he trusts himself.
And he's been built up by these people around him. They're telling him what a superstar he is, and all this.
I'm fucking great.
He goes, I don't need to run in the sand. It's like this weird thing. Like he just chooses not. I'm not going to run. Fuck that. No, I choose not to run. Like from Seinfeld. So the press on him is bad because everything that comes out is there's a lot of anti college athlete shit. Well, who does he think he is? And he's going to come out, and he's fucking Ohio State people all talking shit about him, and he had violations in college, and what a piece of shit this guy is.
That is impressive, and I don't know that impressive is the word. It's more just it's sad that they make them out to be men, and they promote them like crazy when they got them out there. But then when they go against you, they're just children.
They're children. They don't know anything. Yeah, that's what they do. It's very easy to do.
That's disappointing.
It's very easy for them to switch back and forth with these kids.
Which is it? Is he a man or a child?
It's ridiculous.
Fucking take your pick and stick with it.
Either. Well, if it's illegal for him to get paid for work he does, I'd say that's what child is. Till they're 15 or 16 or whatever. That's children. So unless it's a family farm, where in this case, I don't know if you would call Ohio State a family farm, and if you would, then he's a slave. And this is even more fucked up than we thought it was.
Put your whips and hot box away, motherfuckers.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. This is no good. So what they need more than anything is some good public perception of him. They need teams to look at him, and they manipulate the shit out of the media, and they need a fluff piece, Jimmy, and they need one bad. And they find a fluff piece. They find a guy to write a fluff piece, and this Josh Fuchs says that this is his go-to fluff piece guy. He writes for ESPN the magazine.
Of course he does.
Tom Friend. And he said he is just, he wants the cover of obviously Maurice does of ESPN the magazine, but they said he can't guarantee you that, but we'll do a nice fluff piece. And the agent's whole goal here is to make him seem like a good guy that's been portrayed wrongly. He's just a nice guy who's trying real hard and just wants to play for a team and work real hard, and that's all they want him to do. And instead, the whole thing is about how Ohio State fucked him over and fuck them, and Jim Tressel's a scumbag, and they gave me money.
Maurice.
He's fantastic. And this Tom Friend guy somehow turns this into the fluffiest shit ever.
Really?
They love writing fluff pieces on Maurice. He's had like 5 different fluff piece periods, I like to call them, in between periods of badness. He has fluff piece periods.
Badness or madness?
Both. Little I'm good now periods. And then this happens here. But this Tom Friend writes this article, and this guy is, I don't know what the fuck is the deal with this Tom Friend is, but he's either a fucking hack or completely complicit in this whole or no, he's either a complete idiot or he's a hack. One of the two. He's
Could
either
he be
just
both?
No,
because you got to be aware.
He's either a rube or a hack. One of the two. So one of the two. Sorry, it's like I'd like to go into him after reading this article, like Robert De Niro in Casino with the guy who's fucking up the slot machines.
Throw the magazine at him.
Either you're in on it, or you're too dumb to know what was going on. Either way, you're out. Fuck out of here. When someone was robbing their slot machines,
take your magazine with you.
Take your magazine with you. Oh my God, man. Now, on one hand, it does expose a lot of shit that's true, but on the other hand, this guy did this as a favor to a writer to try to...
It's pretty gross.
He tried to write a fluff piece, and Maurice wouldn't let him. He's like, no, this is going to be terrible for me. No.
Here's the thing. Have you heard
I'm
of
make
Jim
this
Tressel?
I'm going to make this real hard for you to make me sound like a nice guy. but it's going to work. Let's do this. So this article, in this article, he's accusing Jim Tressel and his staff of arranging for him to get passing grades, cars, money for bogus summer jobs. He's burning down the house.
He's letting it all go.
He doesn't give a shit here. And it's so funny. In this article here, this Tom Friend, that's why I say he's either a rube or a hack, because he says, this is a quote from the article. Now, I've explained his living situation. Quote, he slept on a buddy's floor and laid off the carbs and hoped by this autumn, his second season away from football, his name wouldn't be synonymous with scandal. He's
you are a hell of a friend.
Not coddled by a wealthy gangster that was taking a cut of his future contract while eating and drinking to excess and getting all fat and not running. That's the actual thing. But he just said whatever his fucking agent told him. He's like, I'll just write. He's on a buddy's floor, just working hard, laying off the carbs, horse shit, because vodka doesn't have carbs. We'll get into that too. It's fucking ridiculous. In this article, it says that he's risky. The NFL teams find him risky, no work ethic. They find him to be like a 4th round draft pick. At this point, nobody had said shit about any round. They just injected that in there to then make people think that he was in the 4th round. There was they put an article out. They leaked to the press because Bill Parcells called to ask some questions about him, about Clarett, and he was the coach of the Cowboys at the time and had a 4th round pick that they thought he was in. That the agents were like, okay, we think maybe he's going to get him in the 4th round, and they paired that with some quotes he had about wanting a big back, and they sent that out to reporters to say, look, Bill Parcells is going to pick him in the 4th round. So that they were like, okay, now the 4th round is the lowest he'll go. So they basically con people into drafting him.
That's impressive.
It's fucking crazy, man. And like the combine, oh my God, Jesus Christ. He
was a disaster there, wasn't he?
A disaster. Yeah. We'll talk about this. About Jim Tressel, he said, quote, I thought he'd give me the NFL. I thought he'd say, you took from me and you didn't tell on me, so here's the NFL. He could have painted me as the first pick in the draft as the world's greatest everything. He wound up selling me out because he said, because he was saving his own ass for Jim Tressel. Very silver. Very, very silver.
Still wants a career.
Yeah. Also, though, I will give friend, he had to put this in there, that they about the NCAA questioning him. I guess he said a lot of, I don't know, I don't remember where I got that car.
Right.
Like if you have a Cadillac, you remember where you got a Cadillac. Like I remember every car I've ever had and where I got it.
Monte Carlo's a big fucking car to
I
forget
remember
where
that
it
came from. Yeah, all sorts of cars.
That's a lot of car.
It's a lot of car. It's a lot of car. Now the athletic director for Ohio State says, quote, he's ineligible because he declined to tell the truth 17 times during an investigation. If you want to give him credibility when he's unable to tell the truth under any circumstances, since I've been around him, I'm not going to respond. So they're trying to really burn him too. And Clarett said, quote, what would have become of Ohio State if I said everything? Half the team would have been suspended and it would have been worse for everybody. I was like, why don't I just take it? He said, quote, Ohio State created me. They created what they suspended, which couldn't be more fucking true.
Yeah.
It couldn't be more true.
But really the whole system created this.
Well, he said the grades were a joke. He said they would do this shit for you. He said he had bullshit classes. Quote, the tutor is a professor at the school. I'd sit there with a notepad and I'd be playing or talking on the phone, and he'd just outline everything in the book and say, this is what you write for your paper. He'd take out a notepad and say, write this, write that. That's what it was. Quote, and they'd tell you like the old test from winter 02 is going to be the test for January 03, or the fall 01 is going to be the next test. They'd tell you how the tests rotate. So they would just give all this inside. Yeah. He said, my classes were all independent study. So I'd show up in like the 8th week of the quarter and do something for the last 2 weeks and I'd be fine. A lot of times during classes, I'd be in the weight room lifting. The coaches would be like, yeah, you get your class done? I'd be like, I'll get it done the last 2 weeks. Like, that's what it was. It's kind of a tradition. If you play good at Ohio State, you get taken care of, he says. He said they would give him money for, like, performance. Like, if he had 175 yards, they'd give him, like, $2,000.
Wow.
It was, like, for performance. They'd give him, he had a gig watching some booster's kids, reading to his kids.
Right.
And if he had a good game the week before, he might get, $3,000 for reading to his kids. If he had a shit game, he might get $800 for reading to his kids. This is how they do shit in college.
What a deal.
It's fucking nuts, man. He said, quote, that was my introduction to, quote, here comes all the free money. I did show up at first, but I was like, this is boring. I ain't doing this. Talking about a no-show job, basically. I used to go watch him hang drywall or something. I just hang out, go to McDonald's, come back, watch, leave, be gone. I made a couple grand. So this is fucking nuts.
I am so jealous.
Yeah, he said the money would get filtered down. Me and a player would go to a coach's office, and the coach would be like, you meet such and such. He's a good friend of the program. You should check him out sometime. You go over his house, you meet him for dinner, you play with them, you meet their kids, and the boosters know you're in college, and they're like, hey, you got any pocket money? And then they end up hooking you up with shit.
Deal.
That's how it was. He said that his car broke down at first, so that's when he told Tressel, hey, I can't get to practice. I need a car. And Tressel said, hey, no problem here. Called a guy from McDaniel Automotive. He said, I got a player here. Maurice Clarett needs a car. You have a car he can use? The guy said, this is Maurice says, quote, so the man gets on the phone and says, what kind of cars do you like? I say, got any trucks? He says, yeah, I got 2 trucks. I got an Expedition and I got a Tahoe right here. He's like, I'll be there first thing tomorrow morning. And they drove down to give me the car.
That's not a truck. That's a big-ass flash SUV.
Yeah,
that's what that is.
That's what that is. You got any trucks? Like he's asking for an S10 pickup.
Yeah.
So the combine comes up, and this is a fucking disaster. They have him in 45 layers trying to sweat off weight because he's so fucking fat.
Yeah.
He weighs in fat. He pumps he does like all the weightlifting really well. They're all like, he's strong as shit. He's been doing a lot of weight training.
Right.
Then the running comes,
and
he finally has to run.
Yeah.
They've been his agent for months now. They've never seen him run. They don't know what the fuck if he's been running. What's he been doing?
How fucking hard do they hold their breath?
They want a 4.5,
yeah,
because he's a big back, so he doesn't have to be a 4.4. He's not
5'9".
They want a 5.5. That would really show that he's done something. Right. He said the agents say they go up in the box to watch on the TV with all the press, and these guys didn't know that they're Clarett's agent, so they're all like actively rooting against him. Let's see what this douchebag does and all this shit. He runs a 4.8, which is not good.
As a running back, that's terrible.
That's a fast offensive lineman is what that is. That is not a running back. So they're all like, holy shit, you fat fuck, basically.
And how tall is he? He's like
6 foot.
Is he that big?
6 foot. Yeah, he's a 6-footer, but he's going 240 back then.
That's stretching him too, because he's not that big.
No. But so he runs slow as shit, and then in the middle of that, after that, rather than do it again he just leaves.
He's done.
He's like, all right, I'm going home now.
Just drop the mic.
So rather than leave and go back to the hotel and chill out, he then leaves and does an interview on television. Where they're going, what the fuck's up with your 40 time? And he's just going, why did you leave? And he's going, I was just not feeling it today. That's what he's putting out to NFL teams. There
was sand and shit.
I know this is the only thing I've been working for my whole life, and the thing everyone's been talking about for the last year, and all I have on my plate, really. But I just wasn't feeling it. Like,
to give you an idea how important the combine is, a lineman was running so hard that his dick fell out of his shorts, he kept fucking running.
Care. Yeah, you can't stop.
You don't stop and put your dick away.
A 6'5" 40 time because your dick was out? No one's going to notate that. They're just going to go, shit 40 time. He's slow. Doesn't matter if he's got a big floppy dick. They don't care. The draft is crazy.
Go ahead and Google that. Go ahead and YouTube that.
It's
NFL
nuts.
Combine dick falls out.
Dick flop.
You'll see.
You'll get it. So this is crazy though. This whole thing is he's a disaster in this. So then they're like, okay, well, we'll do a private workout. We'll say that day, whatever, he wasn't feeling right or something, and we'll do a private workout. They have this big thing trying to get a private workout. He wants to have one at Ohio State, and they don't want him there, obviously. No. So that's a big thing. They deny his request.
Remember what you said about us?
Yeah.
You're going to come to our house?
It has to be.
Shitting me?
He has to work out at like some regional facility that's so they find some high school that falls in the parameters.
That's
it's
the
ridiculous.
Equivalent of us like breaking up this podcast and then me talking a bunch of shit about you and then being like, James, I have to do a rebuttal to the rant that you just said about me.
Together
I need to borrow your studio.
Yeah.
You'll fuck yourself, Jimmy.
You'd be like, what?
No.
So that's exactly, this is ridiculous. Yeah. I know you've been talking shit about me in your battle raps, but can I record
your studio?
Can I record a retort, please?
So, that's Machine Gun Kelly calling Eminem and being like, yo, could I come over? I got
some shit to say.
Some bars.
I got some shit to tell you. So They do. Jesus Christ.
Ridiculous.
So they do a private workout, which doesn't go much better. He's overweight, so they try to hide the scale. They hide the scale and lock it in a closet and say, like, it's so weird that this place wouldn't have a scale. Isn't that weird? I can't believe it. So their thoughts are, even if they get a scale later on, it'll be after everything else and he can sweat off a couple more pounds. So worst case scenario, he's still going to be 2-3 pounds lighter when we weigh him. Right. So literally they're hiding his weight from scouts.
For 3 pounds. Like, that's their end game.
They're like, every bit counts. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're measuring off the 40, making sure it's not too long because they don't want to waste. Like, he ends up running like a 4.6.5, which isn't a whole lot better, but it shows improvement. Yeah. So they're like, okay, well, that's a little bit better. Still not exactly an explosive halfback that we're looking for. Right. But teams, there's only a few teams there at this pro day, even like looking at him.
They give a shit anyway.
The Bengals and Browns are 2 of them, and they're local, so it doesn't cost them anything to fucking send somebody. But not a lot of fly-ins, we'll say. I think the Raiders were a little interested in him, obviously.
This is 02?
Yeah.
Yeah, back then there was...
this is 04, 05.
The NFL
draft
was loaded up with fucking running backs anyway. There were great running backs in the NFL.
People aren't that interested in him. A couple teams kind of poke around at him. They're hoping he goes before the 4th round. That's the goal here. And then we get to the NFL draft, April 23rd, 2005. This is a very interesting draft. This is the draft. Number 1 overall is Mr. Broken Leg himself, Alex Smith.
No kidding.
Yes, the guy who just snapped his leg the other day. He is the number 1 overall pick out of Utah that year, going to the Niners, if you remember.
Who else was in this draft?
A lot. This was a big draft.
Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, we'll tell you, this was a draft where he fell. He was supposed to be a top 5 guy. Maybe he's number 1, and then he just sat there looking like an idiot.
24 or something.
Sat there trying not to slam and break shit as people were picked as offensive linemen and free safeties are picked ahead of him. You motherfucking son of a bitch.
I am Aaron fucking Rodgers.
What the fuck? Yeah, Ronnie Brown goes second to the running back to the Dolphins. Braylon Edwards third, who never really turned in.
Browns?
To the Browns, yep, exactly. Cedric Benson, Cadillac Williams, the running back.
Cedric Benson, the Bears?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Pac-Man Jones to the Titans. It was a great player, just a mess. We'll do him someday. We'll talk about him, don't worry.
Goddamn nightmare.
Antrell Roll to the Cardinals, Carlos Rogers, DeMarcus Ware, Sean Merriman. It's a lot of people in this draft. Aaron Rodgers all the way down number 24 in the first round to Green Bay. Roddy White, the Atlanta receiver for a long, great receiver. He was number 27.
He's still there.
Yeah, he's number 27. So they really they
got a bargain.
They got a bargain with him. Yeah, they got him for nothing. And he's a guy out of UAB, Alabama, Birmingham. So small school guy fell.
Super paid now.
Stole him. Yeah, stole his ass. Good job, guys. Also Heath Miller, the tight end, guys like that. We go through all this shit here through the second round. Justin Tuck is the 3rd round Giants pick. We know Justin Tuck. Richie Incognito, the abusive offensive line.
He's a lunatic. That guy's a piece of shit.
He absolutely is. And after him, finally, the 3rd round, there's a few supplemental picks at the end of the 3rd round because the Broncos didn't have a 3rd round pick. But at the end of the supplemental draft, the last pick of the 3rd round supplemental, the Broncos with the 101st pick.
Wow.
Pick Maurice Clarett.
How about that?
And everybody goes, huh?
What?
The fuck are you drafting him there for? No one could understand it.
Yeah.
But they got the benefit of the doubt because a few years before they'd won the Super Bowl and Mike Shanahan was the coach and he's known as like a running backs guru. Yeah. He's known as a running game. He picked Terrell Davis out of the 7th round and made him a star. Like that's what everybody thinks.
Portis after that who fucking panned out.
Absolutely. You know, you're absolutely right. And after that too, other people, I think Darren Sproles was picked after him.
Really?
Yeah, there was a couple good running backs chosen after him in the draft.
How about that?
Sproles is one of them.
Denver could have had fucking Sproles.
Oh, they could have had Sproles. They could have had a bunch of guys, and instead they end up with him.
Yeah.
Now let's find out how that worked out. This is interesting. He is first day in minicamp. He comes into minicamp. First day. Day one. He doesn't have a contract yet.
No.
He's going for like the voluntary minicamps here. Not even a signed contract. So he's trying to he's a 3rd rounder. He's not a 1st round pick who they put a lot out for, who they're going to have to sign him no matter what.
Yeah.
3rd rounder. He walks in. He's there about an hour before he leaves the practice field.
I remember.
Goes to the GM's office and demands that the strength and conditioning coach, who has worked for the team for 10 years, be fired immediately. Immediately.
He said something about sand.
He tried to make me. Maurice don't run in sand. I don't know if I've made that clear to you, but Maurice does not run in sand.
Pat Bolin, we got some talking to do.
Yeah, and that's the least of the problems here. So that's nuts right away. Now, the GM's got to be going, first of all, are you out of your fucking mind? Right. We wouldn't take that shit from a first rounder. You're a third rounder. He's worked here 10 years. Everybody likes him.
You've worked here 10 minutes.
You've worked here 10 minutes. You don't even work here, really. You don't have a contract. We're not even paying you for this.
This is a
You're just
free
hanging
day.
out.
Right.
You're just basically touring the facility at this moment, and you want the guy fired.
We showed you the jacuzzi, and you're like, fire him.
Fire this guy. We don't like him. So he tried to make me run. So apparently he was real obsessed with his Gatorade bottle. He left it in a car that was dry. He made the driver come back and give him this Gatorade bottle he left in the back of the car. He's very, very possessive about his Gatorade bottle, and his agent finds out why. Apparently one day he's in camp drinking from the bottle on the practice field.
Yep.
And he's standing next to Rod Smith, who is a legendary Bronco. He's like the Mr. Bronco at this point.
Number one receiver.
He's the
undrafted,
team veteran, respected guy. He turns to Rod Smith while drinking out of this Gatorade bottle, and he goes, "I get my goose on at practice."
Oh no, he's drinking Grey Goose.
He is drinking Grey Goose vodka from a water bottle while he practices football in the summer heat.
And he's telling Rod Smith.
Like Rod Smith's going to go, "Cool, man."
You know, that's how we won the Super Bowl
Pretty
in
sweet.
99.
Elway always practiced drunk. That's how we do these things. He said the key to my success is drunk practice. That's always right.
Like Rod Smith is going to cheers him with his water bottle and be like,
salute.
Hashtag me too.
Shentani, brother. And they put one back. No. He's like, let's get this fucking rookie out of here. So we have an in their own words about this. Let's let Maurice tell us.
All right.
He says a lot, so we could do in their own words a lot. So I tried to just make it the few that are interested. Oh, he's a talker. He talks, and then he gives speeches and he talks more. In their own words, quote, "I was getting home at 4 a.m. instead of getting up at 4 a.m. Whatever came to mind, whatever I felt like doing, I just did it. No planning, no organization, no looking toward the future, no accountability, no responsibility, just recklessness."
The amount of luck he's had so far. And he's ready to... Unbelievable.
Now let's find out. It's so stupid. Let's find out how he further flushed it down the toilet.
Okay.
His agents here get him a contract offer of $400,000 for the season.
Deal.
So that's great. That's guaranteed money. He signs that. He makes $400,000. That's the only thing that's guaranteed. And then it's like a 3-year deal, and it escalates if they keep him. Blah blah blah.
He's got a contract for 3 years.
Got a contract. One is guaranteed, just the first year because he's a 3rd round pick. But that's okay. He's got $400,000 on the table. He says, "Fuck that. I don't want that fucking contract. I don't want a $400,000 contract. I want incentives because I'm the fucking man. I'm the man, and I am going to be such a star.
Oh, no.
That is well below my ability, that $400,000. So that's great for some scrub, but I'm going to be worth millions. They won't give it to me now, but if I get it in incentives, whatever." The agents try their hardest to tell him that's stupid.
Haven't you heard of Ricky Williams?
You could get hurt.
Right.
There's a lot of things that could happen. At least get $400,000.
Right.
If you get hurt in training camp, they can cut you with an incentive contract. It won't hurt them because it won't hurt anything against the cap.
Right.
That's the problem with you gotta have a team be into you for the cap so they can't cut you. Otherwise, you're fucked.
And this is a team of people that their salary based on yours. So they're like, "No, idiot, let's do this.
Let's do this. This is
take
smarter."
$40,000.
Even the union, the players union, tried to step in and not allow the contract because it was such a stupid contract. They were like, "No, this is abusive to the player," and the agents had to step in and go, "This is what he fucking wants." He had to say, "No, it's cool. I'm an idiot. This is what I want." So stupid as fuck.
Their NFLPA rep on the Broncos was Rod Smith.
The
guy standing next to you,
getting his goose on. Yeah. So training camp comes around, and if you've ever watched the Hard Knocks show or anything, everybody has to work their ass off every day in training camp because guys get cut that you don't expect to get cut. Because it's like, well, that guy had a better training camp. I'm fucking cutting this guy. Happens all the time. Everybody has to bust their ass unless you're Rod Smith. And they know that you're going to be an all-pro no matter what. There's like 4 guys on the team who have no threat. Everyone else needs to fucking hustle all the time. he wouldn't work out and he wouldn't play in any of the preseason games because his hamstring was sore. And he didn't want to mess it up, and he didn't want to show less than he could do. Yeah. And his agents were like, dude, you have to play in one of these preseason games. Right. You're a third rounder, a lot of other running backs on the roster. Yeah. Like, you need to fucking play.
You're not Le'Veon Bell. You haven't proven shit yet.
You haven't proven shit. He says, this is possibly the dumbest thing he said all time. He said that he's saving it for the regular season. This is like the guy on death row who said he was saving his dessert for after his execution. Right. Like, it won't matter then. Right. If you're cut in October, it won't matter how healthy you are because you're cut, motherfucker. It doesn't matter.
The regular season.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing. What are they thinking? I don't understand it. He says, quote, in between the partying and in between the drinking and the drugging, those things eventually spilled onto the football field. You can't party the night before you have training camp. You can't go out 6 days a week and expect yourself to be productive on the football field.
Yeah.
Broncos agree, and on August 28, 2005, they cut him.
Yeah.
They fucking cut him. That's a third-round pick, and they cut him. That doesn't happen often. Yeah. That you have to really be a fuck-up for that to do that. Never played in a preseason game. Never did shit. Shanahan, the coach, said, quote, anytime you cut somebody you drafted in the third round, obviously you feel like you've made a mistake, and you go on. But when you do make that mistake, you have to go on. So he's like, you have to plow through it. This won Josh Fuchs, his agent, a $1 bet that he made with the other agent. When all this craziness was going on, he says, I bet you $1 he never plays it down in the NFL.
He did that?
Yeah.
He really made that bet?
He bet it with the other agent. And he said, I bet you $1 he never plays in the NFL. And the agent, he said the other guy just took it because he didn't want to seem like a pessimist. Fine. But he said he won the bet because he never played a fucking down.
Never played a down.
Never played a preseason snap.
Wow.
Nothing. He said that at this point, Maurice did, that people in his life were trying to get him to go to counseling. He said, quote, they said you have so many extreme situations happen in the past few months that you need to sit down with a psychiatrist and you need to figure this thing out, figure out what's going on in your life and let us help you. But I was resistant to authority at that point in my life.
Of course.
He could use someone to talk to at this, I would say. Even more now, especially after all that. Yeah. The whole thing with federal court and all this shit and Ohio fighting with a major university.
He's done some pretty adult shit.
He's done a lot of adult shit, and he's a kid. And he's still 20, not even 23 years old. He's still 22.
He's cut from he's fired from the only job that he wanted.
He's done.
The whole end game is over now.
And it wasn't even because he was injured. It was because he was an asshole.
Right.
If he was injured through the preseason and he got cut, somebody might have latched him on as a free agent and he might have been given a chance. But his whole thing was people thought he was an asshole. He had to show up and be the nicest, greatest team player in the world, and he showed up and was an asshole.
All he had to do was show up and just be a nice guy.
That's it. And, let's see what happens here. Let's see how nice he is.
Yeah.
January 1st, 2006, after his family's been telling him to please get counseling, a police spokesman, Michael Woods, said that felony warrants are being issued for Maurice's arrest.
Oh, no.
They have filed 2 counts of aggravated robbery charges related to an incident that took place in an alley behind a nightclub in Columbus, Ohio called the Opium Lounge at 1:45 a.m.
Good place to be.
Once again,
at what time?
1:45 a.m. If you're at a club at 2 a.m.,
your
fucking fault.
It's your fault.
Always your fault.
Yeah.
It's always your fault. You're robbed, you're beaten, it's your fault.
Yeah.
You should. Why were you there at 2 a.m.? You know who's there at 2 a.m.? Assholes who are at bars at 2 a.m. That's who's there. So, fuck, man. The police report said the club's owner, a Tashana Corvey, identified Maurice as the person who held a .45 caliber handgun on 2 patrons and took a cell phone from them in an alley behind the club.
He took their phone.
Robbed people of their cell phone in an alley behind the club.
What?
How far is this of a fall?
I remember
in 3 years
robbing, but I didn't know the loot was a Nokia.
Yeah.
What is he doing?
He stole a phone. I don't.
Fuck.
The police report said the victims said that Maurice was, quote, drunk and might be sick. Mm-hmm. They felt bad for him, his victims. This guy, even his robbery victims feel bad for him. The police report said that after he took the cell phone, Jesus Christ, the owner of the place came outside and Clarett, quote, hugged her and began dragging her down the alley toward the vehicle he fled in.
No.
That's
damn near kidnapping.
That's close to kidnapping. Almost did it. He left with 2 other people in a white SUV.
Oh, boy.
The police spokesman said, quote, we don't know where he is right now. He doesn't have a Columbus address. As with any warrant, especially a felony warrant, officers are out looking for him. His agent, Steve Feldman, who's the other guy, he's the guy who lost the $1 bet. He said in a he was still silver. Yeah. Still silver at this point. That, Jesus Christ. He said in an interview that Maurice had planned on, he was about to sign with an NFL team today, actually. I was on his agenda. So this is kind of a bump in the road. He said he's probably going to get assigned to NFL Europe, and he's about to be signed, though. They said, well, who's going to sign him? He said, well, I can't tell you that. Yeah. Obviously, I can't tell you who's going to sign him because I made it up. Right. And I'm trying to get him in NFL Europe, just like I made up the other shit about him. He said that Clarett had been working out in L.A., but recently returned to Columbus, never go home.
Back home.
Crime and sports rule, fucking clear as day. He said that Maurice was in good financial standing. I don't know fucking how. He's never made a dime. Right. How's he in good how? He's not made any money.
He's made zero.
He's made $0. I don't understand that. He said the situation is not beneficial. This allegation is not beneficial. He said, quote, his behavior's never been criminal. He's made some foolish decisions and opened his mouth when he shouldn't have and stood up when it would have been wiser to let it go, but his behavior has never been criminal. Yes. That's
it is fucking now.
It is now.
He had a 44 on somebody.
45. To be fair, and it's still pretty fucking big.
And took a Motorola Razr off of somebody.
Swiped her
$129 phone.
Yeah, that's it. Fucking swiping his flip phone.
And they can't find him. Call that Motorola.
This one has a camera on it. Ooh. Jesus Christ. Jim Tressel says, quote, obviously my reaction to that is it's sad because as I've said the last few times people have brought up the subject, my hope would be that he would have had an opportunity to go over to NFL Europe and make a comeback. I hope this isn't true. And then his high school coach at Warren G. Harding said, quote, I just hope it's a case of mistaken identity. Yeah. Because no one knows what he fucking looks like. Jesus Christ.
He's wearing a Broncos number 13 jersey because that's all the clothes he has.
He's screaming, I had 1,200 yards as a freshman. They know who he is. So late July 2006, with everything going so well, the rule is not to get married, but he doesn't. He skips that rule and just has a baby instead.
Oh, boy.
So he and his girlfriend, Ashley Evans, have a daughter named Jaden. So let's drag a child into this.
How much convincing did that take you, Ashley? How did you fucking...
And she doesn't seem to like him much. I've seen all these interviews. She's always like yelling at him and like telling him like
communicating through.
You're an idiot, Maurice. Like, exactly. She's
sending messages through C-SPAN.
That's what she does. Yeah, she's like, Maurice, you're an idiot and you can't be doing it. Like, she treats him like a babysitter who's shitty at their job. Like, it's really weird.
She's trying to get a message to him through CNN.com.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to put it out there.
Maurice Clarett's a loser. Signed Ashley.
Signed Ashley. Take that. And your daughter with a little baby handprint on it.
Unbelievable.
That hurts. That handprint hurts me, man. That stings.
Yeah.
So August 9th, 2006, this is a couple weeks after his daughter's born. He's driving around in the middle of the night, possibly drunk, probably drunk, has a half a bottle of Grey Goose in the car he's sipping off of. Yeah. He's making phone calls to everyone he knows.
On a stolen Motorola Razr.
On a Motorola he had hit his crotch, hidden from a robbery. He calls Tom Friend, because there's a guy who's on my side.
This guy writes about
Mr. Fluff Piece, I'll call him. Tom Friend said, quote, listen to this, quote, I looked at the clock when he called and it was just past 11 p.m. Eastern. He told me he was driving somewhere and along the way his cell phone cut in and out. He wasn't loud or belligerent. Instead, he seemed melancholy and possibly drunk. Apparently, he was just driving all around town in Ohio, calling people in the middle of the night. He called Jim Tressel, which I thought was a weird thing.
That's a bizarre
That's like calling an ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yo, motherfucker, you looking fine as fuck on your Facebook page. Yo, titty's looking good.
Listen, bitch, you got a Netflix account?
I'm telling you, man. He calls him. He calls his team that he's about to sign with an indoor arena, not the Arena League, a different indoor Arena League team called the Mahoning Valley Hitmen.
Ouch.
And he called his future coach Jim Terry.
Yeah.
This is a guy who hasn't even played for you yet. Hey, coach, I'm all fucked up and I'm driving around. Great. Terrific.
How you doing, coach? I'm getting my goose on.
It's going to be a great season. Thanks. And it was, too. It was a bottle of Grey Goose he had in the car, by the way. He called LeBron James.
What?
He's his buddy. He's got his number. He called, like I said, he called Tom Friend. He called his lawyer, Mike Hogue. He called his mother, Michelle. All these people, some of them said he sounded alert and upbeat and fine. Others said he sounded drunk and melancholy, like he was just like schizophrenic in the calls. He called his lawyer, Mike Hogue, and he said the lawyer said he was all choked up. He was talking about holding his daughter. He said, quote, Maurice said, quote, I'd do anything for that little girl. I'd go to jail for 30 years for her.
Oh my God.
Which is bad when you hear that.
Yeah.
The lawyer said, Maurice, you're not going to jail, okay? You're not guilty. Now get some sleep, because he still had the robbery thing hanging over him. So now 2 a.m, he calls his mother. Right. So this is from 11 to 2. He's driving around.
3 hours of driving.
Actually more, because he said 11 Eastern, so that's 10 Central.
Oh, Jesus.
So that is, so you're talking fucking 4 hours of driving around. Goosing it up, man. Just goosing and driving, which is a bad drinking and thinking. Like Nas once said.
Drinking and thinking. Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah, doing 90 on the Franklin D. Roosevelt. No seatbelt, drinking and thinking. Feel like that's what he's doing right now.
That's brilliant.
Nas isn't fucking. He's good shit. So, pretty fucking good lyrics. So,
I like from Get Yourself a Gun. He says automatic leg spreader, quicker brain getter. That's pretty solid.
That's a good.
I think it's back twister, lingerie ripper. Automatic leg spreader, quicker brain getter. I think that's the 4. That's self-dubbed, by the way. That's pretty solid.
It's not bad. His rhyming is a vitamin held without a capsule. You know how it goes. So, you know how that goes.
Nas is a genius.
I fucking love Nas. So now he talked to his mother at 2 a.m, which you never want to get a call from your kid driving around drinking at 2 a.m. That's scary, because he's still 23 years old. He's still a kid. As he talked, I guess he's swerving around. He from what he says, he misses his turn for his hotel. This is his story,
right?
And makes an illegal U-turn. Okay, at this point.
I've done that. That'll get you pulled over.
Lights in the rearview mirror. And he goes, shit, this is bad stuff here. So he tells his mother, he doesn't pull over, by the way, keeps driving, and he tells his mother, quote, I've got guns in my car. I'm going to jail. Call my lawyer. Tell Ashley I love her.
Oh, my God.
And then puts the fucking phone down. He says goodbye, puts the phone down, but doesn't turn it off.
Okay.
So now the mother can hear him screeching, driving away on a high-speed chase from the police, which has to be at 2 a.m, which has to be the most stressful thing in the world this poor woman's going through. A few minutes later, she heard what she thought were gunshots, which turned out to be his tires being blown out by spike strips that the police laid down. But she thought that the police were shooting him, or worse, he was shooting them, or not worse, but whatever the fuck. Bad either way.
Instead, she's listening to a live Cops episode.
Yeah, a live Cops episode. Yeah. So they end up, he wouldn't leave the car. They end up having to drag him out of the car. He's maced. Yeah. His whole fucking face is maced. It's a fucking mess.
2 months ago, he was a Bronco.
A few months ago, and instead this is on I-70 on the freeway. He just hopped over a median and made a U-turn. It wasn't even like one of those U-turn spots that you're not supposed to make a U-turn. He just hopped the fucking median and was like, fuck this shit. Yeah. So a police helicopter was in the area tracking him, so they got the spike strips down. He exited the highway and pulled into a restaurant parking lot about 10 minutes after they saw him make the U-turn. That's how much time had passed here. Yeah. They get him out of the SUV. He does not obey any of their commands. So like I said, they have to mace him. They put him in a van. Now they get to go in the car. Now this was a fucking scene, man. Yeah. I mean, this was helicopters, multiple police cars, flat tires, mace, dragging this dude around. It's nuts.
Citizens are impressed.
Yeah. Then they go into his car.
Oh, no.
And they find a loaded assault rifle on the passenger seat. On the passenger seat. Loaded assault rifle sitting right there. 3 loaded handguns in the front of the car. including one in a holster in a backpack, one on the passenger side floor, and one on his side.
Good Christ.
He had a hatchet and a sword.
What the fuck? You got guns, man. You don't need those anymore.
A hatchet and a sword. A half a bottle of vodka. Also,
so he's got a half in him.
They think they didn't give him they ended up not giving him a breath test. Because I don't know if the mace will fucking mess with that or not. But they said that they had no indication that he was intoxicated, which I don't know. They said they didn't know even where he got the guns because they weren't like registered to him or anything. He said, quote, the police spokesman said, quote, we don't have any idea why he had them or what or if anything he was going to do with them. They said we're going to try to trace the gun's ownership. They also found a compact disc of children's songs recorded by Ohio prison inmates that the state distributed last month to prisoners and their families.
That's what he's playing for his Ashley?
He got arrested. Yeah. They gave him a CD of kids' songs, and he fucking put it in the car with him.
He kept it
and drove around with it at 2 a.m.
That's awesome.
I don't know what's happening. Like, I need my CD of the kids singing some inspirational songs and my assault rifle. There we go. Ready to go.
And then these 3 pistols.
He's like the jerk.
Hatchet and the sword.
He's all I need is this hatchet and this sword and my 3 pistols. Oh, and my children's Ohio prison inmate CD. What the fuck?
And a half
a bottle of Grey Goose. and a hatchet. So the police said it took several officers to get him handcuffed. Even after he was placed in the paddy wagon, he was still kicking at the doors and, quote, being a problem for officers. They said he doesn't know what he was going to do with the guns. They said, quote, but if you've got 4 guns in your car, you're up to no good, which is probably true. Yeah. I don't think you need 4 guns on you for self-defense unless, I don't know what you're defending yourself against.
I have several in my apartment. Do you know how many leave my house? None. Unless I'm going shooting
something.
That's it.
They also charged him with weaving in and out of lanes on a road before he entered the highway. They're going to charge him with more shit later. By the way, the arrest ended up coming near funny. He missed his turn to that hotel. Super weird. You know where he was also real close to?
Right.
The witness that was set to testify against him in his robbery case.
No.
The next week, by the way. He's supposed to go on trial for robbery. In his truck, he also had all of his financial records, family photos, all of his shit that he was giving to his lawyer to present in court to go, what a great guy. He doesn't need to rob anybody. He's got money and his kids love him and
or maybe
all that shit.
Dead.
And a bunch of guns.
Wow.
So he says, no. He wasn't going over there to kill this person, obviously. He said, quote, I wanted to have a shootout with the purpose of me basically killing myself. So he's saying that he wanted to have a shootout with the police. Well, that was his goal.
It didn't happen.
Which it didn't happen. And he had full opportunity to. I mean, he might have thought about it and then thought better of it.
Sure.
Prosecutor asked a judge to keep him in jail and revoke his bond on the robbery charges that he was out of prison on. And he was arrested. They said, given that he was arrested close to the home of the witness, one of the people who identified him, they said, we'd like to have his bond revoked. They said that they won't revoke it, but they raised it to $1.1 million.
Wow.
So they said he probably can't post that. So they're
because he hasn't made a fucking dime.
Yeah, no, I don't know if he has Israeli gangsters backing him anymore.
The bananas part is that how far he has fallen, how fast.
That's what I mean. That's why I said
we talk
rocket
about a fall.
It's a rocket into a brick. It's fucking all that force building up, and then boom, it takes off, fires into the air, and directly into a wall and explodes into a trillion pieces.
It's so fast.
It's so fucking fast.
How are you a Denver Bronco, any fucking NFL team? How are you an NFL team member? And now you're thinking about killing a witness? Are you out of your fucking mind?
Even driving anywhere near their house is insane. So instead, wow. He said that if he does get out, he's going to stay at his mom's house and all that kind of shit. He ends up somehow I don't know if they reduced it or what, but he gets out for a minute on bail here. He still plans to play for the Hitmen there, one of 5 teams in the Eastern Indoor Football League. It's not a league with 5 teams. I'm sorry. One team can't play on that day. You play on Saturdays, one team's got the week off every fucking time.
Every week, the team's got a bye.
Yeah, someone's got a bye.
From opening week to end of season.
Yeah, every 3rd week. So the Hitmen coach and owner, Jim Terry, who talked to him in the midst of his breakdown, said that there was no indication that anything was wrong with Maurice, police when he spoke to him on the phone early in the morning. That's an indication that he called you from the car at midnight.
Right.
That's weird. He said the call was disconnected around 1 a.m. and that Terry was sleeping and missed his next call, which was an hour and a half later, which would have been right around the time when he called his mom and had the police chase.
Right.
So he called this guy. He wasn't home, so he called his mom. He's just looking for people. He said that the arrest will not affect Clarett's status with the team. Do you understand we're the Eastern Indoor Football League? We don't give a fuck. If OJ could still play, he'd be on my team right now. We have no idea.
We can't afford to miss him. We need him.
He said, quote, I've seen far worse situations than this.
How fucked up is your league?
I have murderers on my team, mister, so don't even get the fuck out of here. His contract was pending because in his contract there was incentive clauses being worked out based on attendance because he'll draw a crowd. So before his contract could be signed, they needed to have a fire marshal figure out the exact capacity of the team's the team stadium, and that's why he wasn't signed yet. So he never ends up getting signed.
I got to know exactly how many people we can put in here so I can know how much percentage of tickets I need.
Exactly.
Wow.
His attorney came out and said that this is his excuse, that Maurice had recently received death threats, both written and verbal, and this is his pattern. His behavior is based on that. Right. The people who know him though said that he's been on different days he's been fine and then unstable the next day. They said the stress and the baby and all this, he's been a fucking mess, which I don't blame him. I really don't. They said is he just he thinks that someone's bugging him his phone. He thinks people are following him.
Oh no.
So he's losing his fucking mind here, which is crazy.
What is it though? Is it drugs?
Well, he's doing whatever he can get his hands on. He's drinking a lot. It's a problem, and he's who knows? Maybe he's got a little bipolar.
Yeah, he's been beat up quite a bit.
He's been beat up a little bit, but not really. He's only played 1 year of college football, for Christ's sake. He hasn't really been that beat up here. So he ends up being the prosecutors wanted at least $1 million bond because the prosecutor said, quote, we feel he's a threat to the community, which driving around drinking Grey Goose with 4 loaded weapons in your car is the definition of a threat to the community. That's a threat. What does a threat to the community look like? That guy right there. So
that is the white guy with the hair dyed minus a theater. That's all
it. That's all that is.
That's all he is at the moment.
Fucking it. So September 18, 2006, he agrees to plead guilty to aggravated robbery and carrying a concealed weapon. This is a wrap up for the whole thing, for the cops, for the robbery, for everything. They roll it all up into one here. This deal could sentence him. Well, we'll get to that in a second here. The judge announced an agreement on the day jury selection was about to begin in the trial of the robbery trial. The judge sentences him, let's see here, you, sir, may fuck off 7.5 years in prison, which he can be released after 3.5. Okay. He has to serve 3.5. But 7.5 is the sentence, and also to serve 5 years of probation after the prison sentence.
And that's a weapons charge.
That's the robbery. That's for the robbery.
Oh, okay.
I think he pled it down to plead guilty to aggravated robbery and carrying a concealed weapon. So those are heavy charges.
Yeah.
Those
There's
are fucking,
a weapons charge in there.
Yeah, and aggravated. Yeah. He says, quote, I'd like to apologize for my behavior, and I accept the time that it was given to me. Yeah. That's great. I accept the sun rising this morning. You have no choice. They're literally
the charge and the time given because I can't fight it.
Because literally, men are going to drag me away in chains and handcuffs. Either way, so I got to accept it. Jesus Christ,
that's awesome.
Man.
Like he's gonna fight it.
Fuck, man. He had his mom there and his daughter and his girlfriend, and they were all crying and all that shit here. Prosecutor here said he was pleased with the agreement. He said, quote, our view all along was that the conduct demanded a prison sentence, and that's been accomplished. It's an arrange that will allow him to get his life back together after release. Now, the funny part is the people who he robbed, one of the victims said all he wanted was an apology. That's all he wanted from her. He didn't even want charges to be brought against him. He just wanted an apology, and the prosecutor said, no, you can't rob people at gunpoint. That's an our thing. We take care of that. He can apologize too, but he's also going to prison on top of that shit. They said, though, a victim's assistant from the prosecutor's office read a statement from the robbery victims who said the ordeal's been hard on all aspects of their lives. And they said, quote, Mr. Clarett, we hope you will use this opportunity to help someone along the way. So they're trying to be nice to him. He ends up in the Toledo Correctional Facility where we all go.
Yeah.
And well, he's got a little in their own words about that. Let's see what he has to say. He says, in their own words, quote, I don't care who you are. Nobody plans to go to prison. When you're in prison, it's like, hey, how did this become what it is? At that point, you begin to assess your behavior or assess your decision making, and you correct it. You become self-aware and you set some good new goals, and you create new paths. You realize you have to fix it.
Did Maurice Clarett how did you come to arrive here
himself did. He just said, hi, I'm Maurice Clarett.
How did I come
How
to
the
arrive?
fuck did I come to arrive here? I'd like to know that.
That was impressive as fuck.
That's right. He comes out and he says, quote, you saw me getting treated like an animal, tased, beaten, shoved into a van with a muzzle on my face. That was the position I was put myself in because they eventually had to muzzle him because he was spitting and biting and kicking and punching like a fucking dog. While in prison, he took a big interest in Warren Buffett, the investor. He said he read his books and shit. And then when he got out of jail, he ends up meeting him later on.
Warren Buffett took
a meeting with Maurice Clarett.
What kind of life does Warren Buffett lead?
You're not armed, are you?
Right.
So, Jesus Christ.
You say Maurice Clarett wants to meet. Ask him if he's goosing today.
Is he goosing? I'll goose with him. Does he just want to goose, or does he want to actually talk, or are we just goosing? What's happening? Just goosing. He's getting my goose on. Maurice says about meeting Warren Buffett, quote, I went down, I thought it was just going to be a quick picture. Next thing you know, we're sitting there for hours and we're going back and forth, and I felt like I knew him because I read so much.
They certainly goosed.
And he was frightened of me, and he was goosed up. So, he ends up, April of 2010, he's sent to a halfway house in prison, too. He becomes very like a mentor to like younger prisoners. Okay. Like anybody who's there is like 18, 19. They look up to him a lot, and he kind of does well in prison. He has his probation transferred to Columbus, which is his girlfriend's hometown, so he can stay there. This article describes, this is how they describe Ashley. Quote, Ashley, who can be stingy with compliments for Clarett, says, quote, he has become a wonderful dad. When he was first released, he was like, I'm going to take her to the toy store and buy her a bunch of toys so she'll like me. And I said, that's good that you want to make friends with her, but you can't just buy her affection. She doesn't care if you spend $500 at Toys R Us. She just wants you to be here. She wants you to sit down at her tea party and swing her around at the park, which makes sense. It makes a lot of sense here. So finally, like I said, he's trying to get his life back together. He's sent to a halfway house in April of 2010.
Wow.
Finally gets out of the goddamn halfway house when he seeks permission from a judge to try out for the Omaha Nighthawks of the UFL, which is the United Football League. I'm into alternate leagues. Like, I loved the USFL when I was a kid. I always want new leagues to do well. Sure. This was a piece of shit that was unwatchable. Piece of shit football he went to play here. So he's in a halfway house. He's going there. He comes out. He probably feels good when he comes out of the halfway house.
Probably.
Too. He probably feels good about himself. He's like, I'm gonna go play some football. He goes, shit, I do well in the UFL.
Yeah.
May you never know.
Listen,
NFL Europe. Next thing you know, I'm on a roster. I'm 27 years old.
Big stage.
He's walking down the street feeling good about himself, and then he comes across a man with a lot of dogs, and he doesn't understand it, and then he does, because it's Bobby Colorado, animal trainer from Fredericksburg, Texas. And he says, how is it you come to arrive here? I don't fucking understand you one bit. First of all, I think what would benefit you would be a dog. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I know it's not my turn, too. I know there's other people coming. There's a guy coming next week, Horace, some shit, I don't remember. He's coming next week, I know, the next guy, whoever the fuck that is. But I looked at you and I said, if there's ever a fucking guy that needs a dog, it's this guy. Even just if you're having a crazy thought, hey, I'm going to go shoot a witness, drink up half a bottle of Grey Goose. I'm going to tell Rod Smith what a jerk off I am. You look over at the dog and the dog's looking at you like, what are you, fucking stupid? And you're going to think to yourself, myself, even the fucking dog knows I'm an idiot. And I think that's what you need, my friend. Oh, Jesus Christ, they're shitting all over. I got to go. Poof. And a poof of dog shit and marinara sauce.
And muzzles.
And muscles. And muzzles. He's very confused, Maurice. He does not understand, but now he wants a dog for some reason. He's very easily led. That's the problem here. So he goes to the UFL, which is amazing. The Nighthawks issued a statement in their support for Clarett.
Oh, boy.
They said, quote, Maurice Clarett has paid his debt to society, and through recent conversations with Maurice's lawyer and family, we believe he is sincerely working at turning his life around, because we believe everyone deserves a second chance, and because Maurice wants to see whether he can still play the game he loves.
Right.
We've agreed to work Maurice out as soon as the Ohio courts will allow. Also, we can't get any players. That's the other thing. Everyone we get's 40 or can't make a roster. Either one. He says, he's playing for the Nighthawks. He says he loved it. He says, he took a guy under his wing. There's a guy named, Matt Overton, who, wound up getting cut by the UFL team. And so he was depressed, and he said, how am I going to ever make the NFL if a UFL team cut me? Right. So Maurice said, you can sleep on my couch. I'll be your workout partner. And he worked this guy out, and this guy ended up catching on with the Colts and was a long snapper for several seasons with the Indianapolis Colts.
How about
that? And he
that?
credits Maurice with turning his whole life around.
Beautiful.
He says, I couldn't have done it without him. I was at the bottom of everything. I was about to give up, and he was there for me and told me to not give up.
I was about to start frequenting alleys and robbing
I was
people.
just going to rob Nokia's. 2010, for Omaha, he runs 37 rushes for 154 yards, 4.2 yards a carry. 15 is his long with 1 touchdown. So not great, not terrific. 12 receptions for 98 yards. Yeah. That's just not terrible for a running back coming out. I don't know what kind of offenses they're running down there. But who cares?
Whatever.
It's at this point that he starts speaking, and this becomes his whole life. He's in Omaha. He takes his first speaking engagement. It was from a law professor in Connecticut, and he said that people were impressed with his story and how he got out of prison and he started taking classes toward his degree at Ohio State again. And
they let him on campus?
Well, I don't know if he's on off campus or some kind of program. Yeah, some kind of program here. This person was running a symposium at Quinnipiac University called Disparity in Youth Education, and believes Clarett would be the perfect fit for her panel, which he said, I don't understand what half those words mean, number one, but okay. So
what's a Quinnipiac?
What's a Quinna? What the fuck? So he says, quote, it's also going to the administrative staff and explaining to them how they can be more supportive is what he's doing at these schools. He's saying it's about offering up these kids legitimate classes. A lot of these kids are taking lollipop classes, and these coaches know that they wouldn't put their own kids in these type of courses. He said it's the responsible thing to do. Put every resource in place for these kids to be challenged academically. I have to challenge the student athletes. I have to challenge the student athlete support services. I challenge the coaching staff. And I challenge the students because there's something to say to everyone. And it's not rude, but it's like, let's be serious with each other. Yeah. So that's all right. He says, I say it every time I speak. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. This is actually a smart thing that he says.
Is that a phrase that he says?
That's his whole point of his speech. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
All right.
He said, and he says, I have a picture from 2002 with 15 guys from my neighborhood hanging out in a nightclub partying. He said, out of those 15, 10 of them have been in state or federal prison, including myself, and 2 of them are dead.
Yeah.
He goes, you look at that photo, it makes a lot of fucking sense, because if I wasn't hanging around with those people, I'd probably have different thoughts. And if I would have started that young, whatever. I mean, that's
got a point.
It's obviously you're more likely to do stupid shit if you're hanging around dipshits.
Right. Influences everything.
It really, especially when you're young, because, that sort of thing.
But if you don't know that shit, then maybe you deserve what you get.
Yeah, no shit. That's a good point. February 2010, or 2011, members of the Alliance Police Department Special Investigations Unit arrest Michael Graham Clarett Jr., his brother. his brother.
His brother was the junior.
He's the junior. After he picked up a package of marijuana from a residence, and it was 13 pounds of marijuana is what he picked up. So it wasn't like he grabbed a nickel bag and they busted him in the parking lot. He had 13 pounds sent to him via the U.S. Postal Service from Arizona to Ohio.
Wow.
That didn't work very well.
What was the return address?
And they fucking, it was his mom's house probably. So there was all surveillance of this guy, and so he's arrested on that. 2011, Jim Tressel starts to get his a little bit.
Okay.
Jim Tressel suspended for the first 2 games of the season and fined $250,000 for failing to notify the school of NCAA violations involving Ohio State football players. They had financial arrangements with people, an owner of a local tattoo parlor. Mm-hmm. This was the whole thing where the guy traded his jersey for, who the hell was it? The quarterback who traded his jersey for tattoos.
Yeah,
it was who fucking cares? That's a violation.
It's a jersey.
Did you give him his jersey that he could take home with him? Then he can trade it for blowjobs if he wants. What the fuck do you care? It's his. Jesus Christ. Yeah. We gave you this shirt one time so you can't get a tattoo? Fuck you people, you cocksuckers. Terrell Pryor, that's who it was.
Right.
Terrell Pryor.
And he traded the shirt off his own back for a goddamn
fucking
tattoo.
ridiculous.
Who gives a fuck? And that's another dude whose fucking career washed out. Thanks a lot, Cleveland. You fucking jerks.
They're like, we'll make him a wide receiver. No. I thought I was going to say Aaron Pryor, who's the boxer who we'll do an episode on someday. So apparently Tressel was informed of all this type of shit. He's informed of the whole thing and hid it. He exchanged text messages with an attorney who had originally notified him. In these, he verified that the Justice Department matter involved the same players and issues as these other emails. So it's all tied together with electronic shit and everything else. In March of 2011, it's announced that Tressel requested the athletic director, Gene Smith, requested of him that he extend his own suspension, Tressel's suspension, to the same number of games as his players. And he ends up doing that, so he would have missed the first 5 games of the 2011 season. Right. So they asked the athletic director, this is how powerful coaches are, they asked the Ohio State president if he was going to fire Jim Tressel, and the guy said, quote, "No, are you kidding me? I'm hoping the coach doesn't dismiss me."
What?
That's what he said. That's how much power these people have.
You're in charge. What?
Yep, that's how much power these football coaches have. In most states, just about all of them, the highest paid state employee is the state football coach. Right. It's always the coach. But the players get shit.
That's unbelievable.
They can stay there. It's fucking ridiculous here. Anyway.
And one of them happened to be facilitating his assistant diddling kids in the shower.
That happens too.
Fucking unbelievable.
In a notice of allegations, the NCAA charged that Tressel's actions were considered potential major violations. He'd permitted football student athletes to participate in intercollegiate athletics while ineligible and failed to comport himself with honesty and integrity. This whole thing. He ends up in May 30th, 2011. Tressel resigns as the Ohio State head football coach.
Did he really?
He resigned. He had to go down, man. He went down. This whole thing took him down. This was the tattoo thing was the tip of the iceberg of it all. Yeah. And he just fucking said, never mind.
Where did he go after that?
He ended up, first of all, he was the 3rd winningest coach in school history.
Wow.
But Ohio State had to vacate all its wins from the 2010 season, and they were on 2-year probation. After
That's
that,
the dumbest
I think
thing
he coached Youngstown State after that or some shit like that.
I hate when they make them vacate shit, because then it's no national champion. You know what I mean?
That's so stupid. You got away with it. Let's
Who
just
gives
say
a
that.
fuck?
I don't
Just let
care.
them keep the stupid fucking trophy.
It's so fucking stupid.
We just know there's an asterisk.
Nobody there. Guess nobody won that game that happened that we all watched.
What about
stupid.
What about the fucking team that played them? How about them?
What about them?
Right.
Yeah. How about second place?
They still stick with the second place?
Shit out of luck.
Ridiculous.
He ended up 2017. I guess he was coaching someone. Now in 2013, 2012, he starts dicking around with rugby. Maurice Clarett does. He plays with some team, works out with them. The coach,
American rugby.
Yeah, the coach said, "quote He has gifts you can't coach. His ball handling, his touch, his speed and space. He won't beat you over 80 yards, but over 20, he's special." So. By the way, now December 2012, there's another fluff piece. Every 5 years, the fluff pieces roll.
That's a special way of calling him fat, by the way.
Oh,
he won't beat you over 80 yards, but...
not many of these guys are 6 foot 230 of muscle, though, like that, too. Yeah. So he's a big lumbering son of a bitch. Fluff piece here talks about how Maurice and his wife and his girlfriend here, Ashley, get into an argument. And police are called. This isn't his fault. She attacked him, and he said he knew he was on probation. He didn't want to fuck with it. So he ended up calling the cops to say that she just wanted them to come over and like get in between them because he didn't want it to escalate. This ended up she ends up being wanted, because she ends up like being on the lam, wanted for this shit. They end up being separated for a while, for a little bit. They leave. This is what I mean. This is in the article that Maurice was quote, Maurice was left with Fishy, Jaden's beloved pet fish, which died under his watch. R.I.P. Fishy is really the point of this episode, which I think that might be the title of the episode. R.I.P. Fishy.
Very clever name. Jesus, they dug deep.
So they lied and said that the fish was still alive, and they got another one.
All right.
So this was 12:17 p.m., so middle of the afternoon on a Saturday afternoon. She bit him on the wrist and chest and punched him in the face with a closed fist.
Bit his chest?
Bit his chest, which is... Wow.
How do you get...
So how
do you do that?
She's wanted for domestic violence and assault at that point. But back to the fluff piece of the whole thing, because they just said that he was so responsible now because he called the cops. They didn't say the rest of that in the fluff piece. I inserted that in. Back to the fluff piece, quote, Maurice and Ashley have found their second wind. It's May and everyone is under the same roof again. Jaden's all-American girl dolls joining her father's books on the floor. Fishy is here too, although he looks slightly different now.
He's a smaller fish because he's younger, you dipshit.
Jesus Christ, man. They talked about how he stayed up till 1:30 in the morning helping Jaden do a family tree project with Ashley for Jaden's shit, and that Ashley helped him rent a post office and got him address labels so that the books he sends out will look more professional. They're undergoing counseling. Jesus Christ. And he says, he just, years ago, he wouldn't have called the police to quell that situation, but
he just knocked the shit out of her.
Yeah, he would have just, he said, quote, I wouldn't have called, quote, not at all. I would have said, to hell with this, but when something's this important, you take whatever steps are necessary. He's a man now. Something else they talk about in the article is how he's got like dark, like marks all around his eyes, like around his face, like it looks like he has like a raccoon mask almost. And that is from, he says, quote, it's from the mace. He says,
he's burned?
Yeah, he said they didn't let me wash the mace off that night and it burned, and this is what happens. So 10 years later, 6 years later, he's got mace burns on his face because he couldn't wash it off. I guess you got to wash that shit off pretty quick. Yeah. Yeah, it's.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he said,
get the milk.
Get the milk out. Drugs and alcohol he's talking about too. He said he never told anybody out of embarrassment about it. He said that he felt stressed and depressed, but he never talked about any kind of clinical diagnosis. He said that with reporters here, he said he acknowledged mixing alcohol and prescription drugs, but he said it wasn't a full-blown dual addiction. It was just not. He said it was bad enough to not be good for him, but, he wasn't addicted or anything, which sounds like he was addicted, and now he's kind of got it under control, and he's trying to act like he was cool.
He never got caught, never went to rehab, so.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. He said he does say he was hooked on Tylenol 4s and Percocets, which are pretty fucking strong.
Tylenol 4?
4.
I didn't even know there was anything higher than 3.
Strong.
Jesus.
Yep, 4. You have to fucking almost win a Heisman Trophy to get it.
Tylenol 4?
Yeah, Tylenol 4, man. What the fuck, man?
And what was the other one?
Percocet, which is we know that one here. He says he says, quote, you become self-aware, you set some good new goals, you create some new paths, you realize you have to fix it. That's earlier from the In Their Own Words. Then he says, I read anything that taught me more about the economy, business, the mechanics of business, and any other industry that you could be involved in outside of sports. That's what he's doing. Now, his robbery victims don't think he's coming, because right now there's fluff pieces all around. He's speaking all over the place. Maurice has come out great. The robbery victims are like, hey, what the fuck here? One other thing, he said, he's never apologized to us. That's all we've ever wanted. We didn't even want him to go to jail. One of them said, quote, his new reign of positivity, this is something he should have been doing all along. Expressed anger that Clarett never apologized and frustration at having to still field media requests about this idiot that has never apologized. apologized.
Right.
He said, quote, he still says, quote, I forgive him. Some of his Clarett's friends, this is 2013, have suggested that he try to get his felonies pardoned so that he can run for the soon-to-be vacant state representative seat that serves Youngtown.
Fucking way.
Wow.
You can't even vote for yourself, you dipshit.
Are you kidding me? He said, I don't know. They said, after all, he's experienced everything that his home state has to offer, from absorbing the cheers of 100,000 at the Horseshoe to lying spent and burnt in the back of a paddy wagon. He says, quote, who knows? These legs are still fresh, and he smiles. The people don't need him to do that. No. Get your own I almost feel bad for him for even thinking about that, as much as his mom and everybody else. I mean, I feel bad for all of these people, Jimmy, but not as bad as I feel for nobody. We get a pass this week.
That's the only one.
There are no other Maurice Claretts that I could find in the world.
God.
I found similar ones, different spellings, but they're not the same. And mistaken identity is a mistaken identity, and nobody was mistaken this week.
Great.
So good for you guys out there.
I like that he was running for a vacated Senate seat.
Thinking about it.
He didn't even run for the combine.
He didn't even run on sand. He goes, it's not on sand, is it? The congressional race, it's not on sand, because I want that on out.
Maurice.
2013 charges of domestic violence and assault were dismissed against his girlfriend there. They were dropped. Judge Ann Taylor dropped the misdemeanor charges.
Ann Taylor,
and then made her a nice outfit. And
Judge Ann Taylor with her giant fucking judge robe.
Yeah, they're huge. It's very well hemmed. I don't know what the fucking word I'm looking for is. What's the word I'm looking for?
Her plus size judge robe.
Yeah. She said that this was Ashley Evans provided documentation that she completed counseling.
Yeah.
The domestic relations prosecutor for the case said this is not an uncommon resolution for people who don't have criminal records. They end up getting their back together and everything and whatever. He says, 2013, he says, I want to play rugby in the 2016 Olympics.
What the fuck?
No, because they were supposed to make its debut in 2016, and they said, what are you, fucking stupid?
I can't believe he has goals.
No, yeah, stop. 2014, he's filed to start a commercial cleaning business called Clarett Cleaning Services. He registered the business to a post office. It's a general commercial cleaning company is the listing. I looked for it. It does not exist, so I don't know if it failed or if he just said, never mind. He just walked out in the middle of it like a combine run. I'm not sure. Not positive.
Sometimes he's got to clean sand.
It happens, man. He's like, the sand. I don't do sand. February 2015, released from probation. He's released from probation 2 months ahead of schedule. Free man. He says, quote, this chapter is over. A judge here said that it was his last day on the job, and he wanted to end Clarett's probation before leaving the bench. He called Clarett's case, quote, one of the truly, truly wonderful success stories I've had in 26 years as a judge, because he's come along to be such a great guy. He speaks to the kids. He's always speaking at colleges and kids and schools and shit like that. He says, quote, I'm not rewarding Mr. Clarett. Mr. Clarett is rewarding himself by what he accomplished. He is good now.
Yeah.
I would say this is the ultimate. He's good now. I'm good now.
By a different person.
I'm fine.
The other part is, how fucked up of cases has he seen that this is
the
success?
Best. This is the best success story ever. He's played in a shitty football league and talked to some kids.
The man was drafted in the NFL.
Jimmy, he's good now until January 3rd, 2016. When he's traveling on Interstate 71 in Morrow County and on January 3rd, a fellow motorist follows him for 20 minutes, reported seeing him driving quite erratically in a 2011 Infiniti SUV.
That's nice.
Nice. 5 years old, though. He could have got 2-year-old. That's not bad. So I buy my cars, man. Come on, 2 years old. Fucking new shit. You're not going to rip me off. So anyway.
They appreciate fast.
They do. They do. That's what I'm saying. 2 years. That shit's worth half the money and still the same car. It's got 28,000 miles on it. What do I care?
Right.
So his SUV is stopped after an illegal lane change. They end up talking to him, and he is arrested for operating a vehicle while intoxicated after he refuses to submit to a blood alcohol test or a breathalyzer.
God damn it.
So he's fucked. The police spokesman said callers had reported the vehicle was operating recklessly before he was stopped for the turn signal violation. The Ohio law, anyone suspected of driving under the influence influence is taken to the nearest law enforcement facility that has a breathalyzer. He was transported there, refused blood. So you're charged, asshole. That's how that works.
911, yeah. I'm driving down I-70. There seems to be a car goosing.
He's goosing. He's clearly goosing. I don't know what the technical term is. I believe it's goosing.
Pretty sure this car is goosing like a motherfucker.
Yeah, big time. So February 10th, 2016, he pleads guilty under a deal with prosecutors and receives a 60-day suspended sentence because he was off probation, remember? Right. He's a success story.
Free man.
And he must serve 2 years probation and undergo a driver intervention program, and his license is suspended for 180 days. July of 2018, he posted a post-workout photo with the caption, quote, "I'm smiling because I have a lot to be thankful for." And a bunch of people rip him when he does anything. They all go, you fucking jerk off, this waste of fucking talent and all this type of shit. And Kirk Herbstreit, who's the college football analyst dipshit.
Asshole.
He tweets, he's fucking defending him all the time. He tweets, quote, "What a shame. Completely disagree," when someone said he's a waste of talent. Quote, "This kid turned his life around. He's winning his life every day. So proud of him. He's reaching so many kids in this era of athletes need to hear his story. God bless him for sharing his challenging story, not always about results on the field." So yeah, people are defending him.
So disappointed in you.
He's a great guy. God damn it.
The man could have been on his way to a fucking murder. You dipshit.
Very easily.
How do you know, Kirk?
Of a robbery victim witness.
Fucking asshole.
That's what the mobsters do.
Herbstreit, button your fucking mouth. Somebody take his Twitter from him. Fuck
no
that
shit.
guy.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, he's the new Skip Bayless.
Unbelievable. That's the most reckless fucking thing to say.
He's a good guy.
How dare you defend a criminal?
There has not been any negative thing written about him.
Nothing.
Even the driving under the influence.
Yeah.
A blip. It was like, he's great and he's going to go back to doing great because everything's fine now. They just blew right past that. Like it never happened. It's like, since he's been released from jail in 2010, life's been wonderful. Oh yeah, and he got arrested for that shit. Remember that? He's doing, like we said, all sorts of shit everywhere in terms of speeches and everything. Colleges. He awards a scholarship to a walk-on athlete at Austin Peay in 2018. October 2018, he talks about Ohio State defensive end Nick Bosa, that guy who withdrew from school to prepare for the draft. Right. He says he agrees with the guy's decision, doesn't fucking blame him, and says, and this is actually smart Maurice Clarett here for once, he says, in their own words, quote, "Kids who have an opportunity to make an enormous amount of money, being the first overall pick, this guy can probably make $100 million over his career. I wouldn't go out there and risk it for a national championship. It's just not worth it. It comes down to basic common sense." Yes. Yeah. Yes. Why are you going to throw away your whole life so some coach can get a fucking $10 million extension next year? Fuck that guy.
Finally, Maurice
get your own
is
money.
Making some sense. Don't you wish you had this common sense fucking 10 years ago,
That's
Maurice?
The thing.
You dipshit.
Shit. An event with him in 2018. It says, quote, I picked a rant because there's literally a trillion. It's every day he's doing this. Doing 20 a month. Yeah. Quote, "National champion Buckeye Maurice Clarett will be joining us in worship to give his testimony of overcoming bad decisions and trials to living a life worth meaning. Of worth and meaning. Join us that day for his words of inspiration and a time of fun afterwards with a tailgate party on Church Street."
Oh, God.
Get down.
Taking from the most vulnerable of people, fucking churchgoers.
He says that his response to people who thinks that what he's doing now is an act, he says, quote, "I'm not mad. I understand it." Mm-hmm. He is now the director of the Archway Institute, whatever that is.
Like the cookies.
I like the cookies. Can't get enough of Maurice. MauriceClarettonline.com.
That's his website?
That is his website. It has him listed as Maurice Clarett Brands, all of his brands, quote, "entrepreneur, public speaker, consultant." Maurice Clarett has created a brand that has allowed him success in the worlds of athletics, education, and business. Take athletics off that list. His ability to educate and empower people to reach their goals personally and professionally has led him to work with the nation's top businesses and professionals. Click on the tabs below to see see all of what the Maurice Clarett brand can offer you. Wow, some goose.
I want brands to be with a Z.
Yeah, brands, bitches. Follow him on Twitter at Reese Clarett 13. REESE.
Yeah.
Clarett 13. He has tweeted 38,009.
Wow.
So that's a lot. 38,000 times.
He's a talking motherfucker.
He follows 1,187 people, and he has 82.9 thousand followers.
He's crushing me.
So good for him. Yeah, he's beating us out.
Good for you.
Good for you, Maurice. Still can't get enough. Go on Amazon. Maurice Clarett autographed Ohio State Buckeyes 8x10 photo. It's him running looking all cool. $29.99 plus $5.95 shipping. Only 9 left in stock, Jimmy. Wow. Hurry. Order soon. There. And also, he is doing a podcast.
Oh, boy.
Podcast Business and Biceps by Maurice Clarett, Corey Gregory, and John Fosco.
Oh, he needs 2 other dudes?
Hosted by 3 serial entrepreneurs who have experienced incredible highs and brutal lows. Maurice Clarett, Corey Gregory, and John Fosco. We take you through the process of identifying and applying the building blocks of what it takes to become a better and more effective person. Yeah. Business and Biceps is a podcast that stands out from the crowd. 1,524 ratings.
Wow.
So we're kicking the shit out of them there. You can have Twitter go fuck your mother. We'll take the podcast ratings. 5-star average on. So the people who like it do like that. Yeah. And that, my friends, is Maurice Clarett. You've asked for it, and now you got it. Maurice Clarett. Enjoy.
I'm really worried about Corey and John.
Oh, they're a disaster.
Mo's going to rob those fuckers.
Oh, there's something bad's going to happen. But he apparently is doing splendidly now. Everybody says what a great guy he is, and he's doing great. And as long as he keeps from public goosing, maybe things will work out okay for Maurice Clarett. Let's hope for all of our sakes.
As a Denver Bronco fan, Maurice, go fuck yourself.
And I rooted for him so hard to beat the NCAA and the NFL because I thought he had a right to go make a living if he fucking wanted to. Tennis players can play when they're 16. Hockey players can be signed when they're 15. Right?
Oh, Jesus.
Baseball players sign. You can sign a baseball player at 16. Anybody else who's not a football player, basically, at basketball, 1 year of college, they figured out how to hold them too. Funny, the 2 blackest sports are the ones where there's requirements for how long you have to stay there and make them money. Right. Jesus Christ. So
when
there's
he was
that.
drafted by the Broncos, there was so much hope. I was
so much,
jacked about it.
Could have been great, but no, behind the scenes, you knew it was happening now.
Blew it.
So, yes, if you like that story, iTunes, please get on there, Apple Podcasts, the purple icon, whatever the fuck it is. 5 stars would be wonderful if you could do that. Just tell us you're following instructions, following instructions, following directions, or instructions if you just want to save some time.
If you're Maurice Clarett, we understand the negative review.
We get it, Maurice. Sorry, buddy. We apologize. Hey, you know what? I get it. I understand. So, all that, please do all that. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. You can get all your merchandise, tickets to live shows. God damn it, come out and see us. After this weekend, there's only one more weekend left of 4 live shows. I think there's tickets left to most of them because they're in giant theaters. So please buy them and don't let us be embarrassed among our people there.
This weekend we're in Cincinnati, and I will have 2 tickets at the window for Maurice Clarett. If he wants to
come on by, Maurice. We'll shake your hand and say what's up. Maybe you're cool and don't flash a .45 caliber on us, or keep your assault rifle at home, and we're fine.
We'll goose in the green room.
Hey, let's come on in, baby. Free goose. We're performing. We get free goose if we want it. So Jimmy's got a bottle of Bullet. I don't know. You can substitute.
We'll
see.
With
puff on something. Let's see what happens, Jimmy. You can smoke in the green room. So come on over, Maurice. You're invited to Philly, everybody.
Can't wait to see you.
Can't wait to see you. Do that. Also, our special people that we need to talk about here, they're not like handicapped.
No.
They're not like,
but they're pretty
they're not challenged,
special.
But they're special in a way to us, our Patreon and our PayPal people. If you want to make a donation, you can just go over to Shut Up and Give Me Murder, which has links that take you to patreon.com/crime and sports, or to make a one-time donation over at PayPal. You can just use our email address, which is crimeandsports@gmail.com. You want to get a hold of the show, it's at Crime and Sports on Facebook, at Crime and Sports on Twitter, at Small Town Murder on Instagram. Do that. And Jimmy, I would like you, right now to rob me at gunpoint with the list of my most favorite people in the world. Hit me with it, Jimmy.
This week's executive producers, in no particular order of importance, are Michael Kennedy, Stephen Rood, Lisa Hewitt, Chrissy Ann Castaldi. Again, God damn it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chrissy.
By the way, he's lying. He meticulously ranked them in order of importance to him. I mean, it took him an hour, so don't. Your backgrounds were looked into. It was the process.
Candace Kennedy, thank you so much, by the way, for all the gifts.
Yeah,
we
appreciate
amazing.
it. Thank you.
Carrie Clark, thank you very, very much. That was a very sweet gift. Jennifer Lamb and Leah Egan, who upped her Patreon. She's terrific.
Thank you so much.
The Egan sister. We'll
so
see her
cool.
in Boston.
Hey,
thank
awesome.
You.
Can't wait.
This week's other producers are Hunter Perry, Scott Wiles, Bill Szynski, Nicole Vaughn, Margie Kunze, who's been around forever.
Oh, gosh,
thank
she's
you,
the
Margie.
best. Thank you. You're not saying you're old.
Right.
You've been with us forever. Not you've been. She's like Methuselah, this Margie boy.
This Margie.
What is she? 90, 100?
Goodness.
Christ Almighty!
Good
How's she still alive?
Stephanie Igoa, Jennifer Levinson, Hannah Turley, Reagan Shockley. No, it's Shockley.
Reagan Shockley.
You're terrific.
Thank you, Reagan.
Under the Sea Fabrics, again, thank you. Sarah Carter, Molly Hewitt. That was Lisa Hewitt. So Molly Hewitt, Lauren Demarath, Cammie Yoakum, Patricia Grace, Paul Ruist. Paul Ruist is
He's the man.
The guy's fantastic.
Dude, thank you, Paul. You are a good dude. We appreciate you.
Casey Handel, Alyssa and Barbara Rouse, Jesse Hartman, who I mentioned is handsome as a motherfucker.
He already got his shout out. He called him. He told everyone how much he wanted to fucking blow him. I think that was good enough for a shout out.
He looks like the guy that fucked what's his name's wife in God, what's his name? God,
you're giving me
really
nothing
terrible.
to go on. Literally. Not even, I can't even have half of that equation. Just a guy who fucked another guy's wife. Could be anybody.
Is it Along Came Polly? It is Along Came Polly. It's
okay.
He banged the chick from Will and Grace.
Okay, fair enough.
He looks like him.
Fair,
Good for you, Jesse. You're handsome.
Nice job.
Jessica Pilkington, Shalima Althaus or Althaus, Althus, Crystal Lamb, Monj Sanga over there in Europe. Thanks, you, Monj. You're a hell of a dude.
Definitely.
Amanda with no last name, Patrick Haggerty, Ricky Fitzpatrick, Miranda Lightholder, Martina Liluanga.
Oh,
right?
Martina. Yeah, it's our girl there.
I'm not going to say her last name.
She's
it's
the
Martina.
best.
She's
Yay,
terrific.
Martina, we love
Thank you. Catherine Collada, Jennifer... shit, what have I done?
Jennifer, quote, shit, what have I done?
Sapienza? That's what it is.
That's a good name.
P or F? Is that an F? Sapienza? Jennifer, you're amazing.
Hey, Paisan. Good job, Jennifer.
Stephen Crumley, Greg Stevens, Stephen Clark, Gary Howard, who also sent a gift. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Matthew Dietrich, Tegan Bailey, Lindsay Rustin, or Rustan, Ashley Vio. She's been around for, thank you, Ashley.
Yeah,
You're
she's cool.
so
Thank
nice
you.
to us. We appreciate it. Trevor J. Atkins, Kim Jisoo, Tyler Sheets, Sarah Hines, Rachel Neves, Justin Miller around every goddamn week.
Yeah,
thank you,
Justin.
Taryn Fryer, Elizabeth Farrell, Bryant Toole, Dr. Greggles, Sierra McGillivray.
Your mouth just didn't want to make that noise.
What? Chrissy Corbiel, Blaine, with no last name, Justin Byrne, Rachel Cascaden. I just argued with my head and my eyes.
Yeah.
William Northcutt, Sydney Oaks. That's what that is.
Sydney.
It's a CYD. That's why it fucked me. Sydney Oaks. James Fraker. Yeah, that's that dude down in L.A. James. Thank you,
cool.
James.
Thank you.
Zach Martin, Jerry Hutton, Wilson Effects LLC, Julie Bailey, Emil Svenrup. That's a tough one.
That's
Emil.
rough.
It's Emil.
Hey, Emil, how you doing?
Tim Maney, John Watson, Tiffany Gonzalez, Michael Heidner, Fayanez. I think that's right. Mariah Menhiu.
Hey, Mariah.
Thank you, Mariah. Kathmandu Real Estate, Carrie Gage, Erica Green, Raymond Briggs, Kirsty Flatjord. I don't know. It's fucking Swiss, right?
They'll say it fast.
Just do a real
Fletchard. That's there. That's fair.
Kirsty, thank you.
Thank you.
Jessica Christensen, Morgan Elliott, Renee McCulley Kelly, Talena Jensen. Oh, that's Talena. I don't think Talena is her name that she goes on Facebook. Jensen, I recognize, and I think it's different. I'm not sure. I'm a dope. Jennifer Ridicott, Ross Hetherington, Ariana Folsom. Thank you, Ariana. Cody Leversey. Yeah. Yes. Jamie Jubert. It's spelled different. That's why I giggle. Christopher Battaglia, Nicole Rivas, Junior Perry, Jamie Sullivan, Peyton Meadows, Jordan Sewart, and this was 2 weeks, so it's a little bit more.
Yeah, that's all good. Thank you, guys.
Nicola Gaskin, Jessica Lowry. What am I doing? Liz Nice Slice Smith. She was up there in Minnesota.
Hey,
thank you. Delaney Inman, Jacinda Minor, Josh Smith, Jared Waters, Kevin Wilson, Sean Wickham, Maggie L, Veronica Wolflover. What? No.
Wolflover?
Wolflova. Wolfalova.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Veronica with a K, too. That's fucks me every time. Krista Zachman, Ryan Golbeck, Amanda Brewstad. Yes. Danielle Belusi, but I think that's a dude. I think it's Daniel.
Yeah, it's Daniel. We've gone over this before.
Daniel Belusi.
Yeah. Sorry, Daniel.
Yeah, sorry, man. I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Charlene Zamler, Gisela Garmo, fucking damn it. Gisela Garmo,
what a
Gisela
mess.
Garmabozia, Dada Fleischer.
Yes.
Boom. 7 times the charm. Brian Price, Danielle Rucker Vieira, Rachel Robbins, Morgan Gibson, Patrick Mitchell, designs by Lucas, Natalie Martin Chich. Martin and then Chich.
Okay. Martin Chich.
This is difficult. Jamie Sullivan, Indiana Quilon, Kaina Jams. I think that's right.
Okay.
It's probably Kaina Junis or Janice. Kaina Janice.
Okay.
I think that's right.
There we go.
Zach Stevens, Katie Polis, Amy Grake, Grace Eccles, Isaac Stemple, Paul Landis, Mary McKenzie, Lawton Melmop. That's what it is. Mike Miller, Emily Rose. I think that's the gal up in New Hampshire. I think
yes.
that's her. Matthew Waller, Delaney Trotter, Justice Byrne, David Calvert, Chris Norris, Janae Content, Patty Vincent, Beth Carlton, Rachel Fake I think that's right. Cor Flores, Catherine Hardwick, Danny Way, Walter Esterby, and Lee Stevens. You guys are amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you. Honestly, you guys keep this show going, and you keep us in. We just can't thank you enough. I don't even know what the words are. Yeah. You keep us flying, unlike Maurice Clarett, not into a brick wall. So thank you for that so much. And what if these people wanted to keep you flying, Jimmy? Where can they find you?
You can find me at Wisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat. Snapchat. It's definitely Snapchat.
Yeah, it is. Instructions.
And
follow instructions and go to Snapchat. Follow Jimmy.
Tell me how your week was. I appreciate it. Where can they tell you?
Oh boy, over you can find me at Jimmy P is Funny. You can find me there, or copy and paste my last name from the show description and plug it all into there. I'm going to actually start doing stupid Instagram this week more. I have an Instagram. It's my name. It's James Petrogallo.
Oh,
for once that fucking lawyer in Pittsburgh didn't jump me and take the shit like he did on Twitter. So you can follow me over there, and I'll start posting poor shit on there. And and
pictures of your all sugar Mountain Dew,
or your
pictures of your Lawrence Taylor bimbo.
All sorts of shit.
The pop fucking
thing. Funko. That's it. I have other Lawrence Taylor memorabilia. That's besides the point.
Snapchat, all that stuff.
Follow us, do that.
Instagram, whatever.
There we go. Thank you guys so much. Live from the Crime and Sports Studios. We will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.